Ladies and gentlemen, amazing to see that all of you are currently networking. Great to see the energy is high this morning. Once again, our event will be starting right now. So if I could get all of our guests to kindly take your seats. Thank you. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the NCSS Social Service Summit 2025. My name is Juliana Yao, and I'm delighted to be your host for today. We are deeply privileged to have all of you here with us today, all who have shown exceptional commitment to social service as well as community development. Of course, it is also my pleasure to welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Masagos Zulkifli, Minister for Social and Family Development, as well as Mr. Goh Pei Ming, Minister of State. I am also honored to welcome Her Excellency, Professor Aawatif Hayar, former Minister of Solidarity, Social Integration and Family, Morocco, Scientific Advisor of Smart City Expo Casablanca, General Co-Chair of IEEE International Smart Cities Conference. To all of our excellencies and foreign delegates who have traveled across the globe to join us here today, we extend our warmest welcome. And of course, to all of our participants joining us this morning as well, thank you so much for gracing this occasion. The theme for this year's summit is transforming the future of social service through talent and technology. And in a rapidly evolving world, this theme reflects our commitment to embracing innovation while nurturing the heart of social service, of course, which is our people. We do have an exceptional lineup of both local as well as international speakers who will share their expertise and insights on leveraging technology and developing talent to enhance our social service sector. Not just that, complementing our main program this year, we do also have Tribe X that is ongoing in the Peony Ballroom next door. Tribe X is an immersive exhibition which showcases how digital innovation is revolutionizing our service delivery. So please do feel free to visit Tribe X at the main plenary at your convenience. But of course, right now, to kickstart this summit proper, it gives me great pleasure to invite Ms. Anita Pham, President of the National Council of Social Service, up to the stage to give her welcome address. Ms. Pham, please.
A very good morning, Minister Masagos Zulkifli, Minister of State Goh Pei Ming, international delegates, colleagues, social service ecosystem partners and friends. Welcome to this year's NCSS Social Service Summit. Since 2017, this summit has served as a strategic platform for us to meet, foster collaboration, and facilitate the exchange of ideas. This year, we are particularly honored to welcome distinguished guests from around the world. A very warm welcome to all of you. I'm certain that we will find many opportunities to learn from each other through the rich and insightful sharing that will take place over the next 2 days. As Singapore celebrates her 60th birthday this year, we can take pride not only in our nation's significant strides, but also in the transformative journey of our social service sector. Looking around this room, I see many familiar faces. Some of you who have been serving in this sector for a long time. I'm one of them, by the way. All of you have witnessed this firsthand, how far we have come. As a reflection of the evolution of our sector and where we are today, NCSS has been working with MSF on proposed amendments to the NCSS Act. This is to ensure that our Act remains fit for purpose going forward and enables us to be future ready for the challenges that lie ahead in the decades to come. Let me expand on this. First, we will be proposing changes to NCSS's objects and functions to reflect the role, our role in NCSS as sector developer. NCSS support will extend beyond members and embrace a broader ecosystem of players in our social service sector. We are committed to building a more inclusive sector by moving beyond the conventional perception of direct service delivery. This review will give us a stronger mandate to build the capabilities of service providers in the social service ecosystem and partner with a variety of organizations to meet social needs more effectively and efficiently. Secondly, the move to a fully appointed and smaller NCSS board is necessary to ensure a board that is more nimble and agile and has the optimal mix of relevant skills and experience to continue driving our work in NCSS as a sector developer. Under our current NCSS Act, we have a 23-man board, half of whom are elected and the other half appointed. May I assure you that with these changes, we will ensure that there is adequate sector representation. There will be a nomination process for sector members to nominate suitable sector candidates for the board. NCSS will continue to organize meaningful platforms for engagement and work closely with our stakeholders so that sector voices will be heard. As we celebrate SG60, I'm also pleased to announce the launch of the SG60 Towards Sustainability Fund. $7.5 million will be set aside to help agencies kickstart their journey towards building capabilities to measure and demonstrate the impact of their work. These measurements will help your agency identify what works and what adjustments are needed to better outcomes for service users and build confidence among your partners and funders. Full NCSS members can receive a one-off $30,000 funding amount under this fund. NCSS will guide you to develop a theory of change for key programs, which will help to provide a clear roadmap to track and measure outcomes effectively. Agencies with potential high-impact programs will be further supported to adopt the sector evaluation framework with technical support from the Center for Evidence and implementation support through the Transformation Sustainability Scheme, or TSS for short. For those who get mixed up with all our acronyms and what we have, TSS was launched in 2024 to strengthen organizational capabilities of our social service agencies, especially in the areas of people practice and volunteer management. Agencies may tap on the TSS for support in setting up robust processes and systems to collect program data and for strengthening evaluation capabilities. As a sector, it is an imperative that we become more data-driven and make evidence-informed decisions so that we can continue to improve the way services are delivered. This will allow us to address the needs of those whom we serve in a clearer, more sustainable, and impactful way. Amidst an evolving and fast-changing landscape, NCSS recognizes that strong executive leadership. Hang on a second. Just to make sure, yeah. NCSS recognizes that strong executive leadership is crucial to helping agencies stay ahead and especially to meet future challenges. We are therefore committed to investing in leadership capabilities of our social service agencies and providing growth opportunities to build a strong, steady, and sustainable pipeline of executive leaders. Many of you in the sector have asked for more structured leadership pathways and training across all levels. We have heard you, and in response, NCSS has been working with institutions such as Nanyang Polytechnic, Singapore Management University, and SIM Academy to develop a 3-tier milestone program series which will equip first-time, middle, and senior managers with relevant competencies. These include developing systemic approaches to problem solving, fostering innovation, and building future-ready organizations. Another key opportunity is that we must continue to harness is digital transformation. Since 2022, the Community Capability Trust has funded almost $20 million for digital technology adoption and consultancy services. This was to lay the digital foundation of our social service agencies and included solutions such as human resource management systems and accounting solutions to support corporate processes. We have since seen promising outcomes. Our Digital Acceleration Index study indicated a significant adoption of cloud and foundational solutions, with more than 250 of our social service agencies adopting at least 3 solutions. Based on our data from the tech solutions funded by NCSS, our social service agencies have also reported a significant 20% reduction in man-hours. Today, NCSS will be launching a digital strategy to guide technology adoption for the sector. First, an enterprise suite will be available for all our social service agencies to adopt. This will include AI personal productivity solutions designed to help our social service professionals work more efficiently and reduce their administrative burden. Scribe, an AI tool that can help frontline professionals transcribe client conversations into summarized case notes. And a pre-approved donor management system, as well as volunteer management system, to enable agencies to collect, analyze, and use data more effectively. We have also recognized that different subsectors have unique needs. As such, the subsector tech suite will be developed and implemented for social service agencies offering similar services to ensure consistent user experience. NCSS will work closely with MSF to identify suitable technologies and partner with agencies to implement and scale these solutions. More details will be shared in the coming months. It is of equal importance to uplift the digital literacy of our social service professionals so that they have the needed competencies to use AI and technology in their work. NCSS has therefore launched a complementary data and AI literacy e-primer that is available to all social service agencies via SSI's learning platform. Through the network of AI starters and enthusiasts, or NICE for short, we are also bringing like-minded sector professionals together to learn and share knowledge on AI. Technology is one of the many disruptors that our sector must embrace and adapt to. To me, COVID was actually a blessing in disguise in the way that it pushed us to adopt technology, innovate our service delivery, and accelerate our sector's digitalization journey. There may not be another pandemic, but there will be other stresses on the system that will also bring challenges. With the learnings from COVID, I encourage everyone to embrace a mindset of readiness and responsiveness. We must remain mindful of potential disruptors that could impact our services, adapt proactively, and build a crisis-ready, resilient sector. It is therefore important for us to always have business continuity plans, crisis management, and disaster recovery plans constantly refreshed and updated. Since our early days, NCSS has taken the lead in identifying and addressing unmet social needs. This remains a very important part of our DNA. Through our membership survey conducted last year, addiction support was raised by several partners as a critical area with increasing needs. NCSS has acted on your feedback. Through our stakeholder engagements, we have found that people often delay seeking help, and that emerging technologies found that people often delay seeking help, and that emerging technologies have been exacerbating the complexity of addiction issues. We are grateful to all our partners who have taken the time to share their views and experiences with us. So going forward, this will be a priority area for NCSS. In close partnership with the National Mental Health Office, NCSS has been conducting an in-depth study of this space and will convene stakeholders to share our findings, discuss issues, and deliberate ways to collaborate. I invite agencies that are part of this ecosystem to join us so that as a sector, we can gain a deeper understanding of this space, work as a collective to plug service gaps and to build capability. While many things have evolved, another constant in our journey has been our social service professionals, who form the backbone of our sector. May I encourage you as sector leaders to take this time to appreciate the hard work, passion, and tenacity that your professionals bring with them every day. I am very much looking forward to recognizing the achievements of our sector professionals later this evening at our inaugural Social Service Professional Awards. To close, may I please take this opportunity to show my deepest gratitude to all of you who have contributed tirelessly to our sector. You have all been doing such meaningful work, and I am filled with optimism about our sector's future. And I look forward to strengthening our partnership with you as we build a stronger sector together. Thank you for taking time to be here today, and I wish you all a very, very fruitful summit ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Pham. You know, hearing from Ms. Pham, it truly is heartening to hear how NCSS is supporting our social service agencies, not just as a sector developer, but as a steadfast advocate for those in need. So as we look towards building a future-ready sector, we are reminded of the importance of all the work that all of you here do. While we embrace new ways of collaboration and innovation, let us not forget it is our dedicated social service professionals who remain at the heart of our mission to uplift and also to empower those that we serve. Next, we would like to invite Minister for Social and Family Development, Mr. Masagos Zulkifli, up to the stage to give his address. Minister, please.
Ms. Anita Pham, President of NCSS, Dr. Aawatif Hayar, former Minister of Solidarity, Social Integration and Family from Morocco, Scientific Advisor of Smart City Expo Casablanca, General Co-Chair of IEEE International Smart Cities Conference. Thank you for coming to Singapore. Welcome to Singapore. NCSS board members, distinguished foreign delegates, partners from the private, public, and social service sector, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Every social service summit, I'm always inspired to witness practitioners, learners, academics coming together to collaborate and innovate towards a better social service sector. But this year's summit is especially significant for two reasons. First, the summit is held in our 60th year of independence, or what we call SG60. And therefore, it's a time we can also reflect on our journey. And it's fitting to celebrate the pioneers in our sector who established the foundations in our early years of nationhood, and the generations of leaders after them who painstakingly built up our social service ecosystem. Second, this is the first summit attended by foreign delegates from 11 countries. We look forward to learning from your experience and perspectives, and let's welcome them to our summit. Ladies and gentlemen, this summit is actually one of 3 conferences that the Ministry of Social and Family Development hopes to organize and lead with like-minded stakeholders, academics, and leaders from all over the world. We hope that these conferences will serve as platforms for the exchange and development of original ideas in the social sector. The first conference is the Asian Family Conference, because families are the bedrock of our societies. And therefore, this conference focuses on strengthening our families in Asia and beyond. Strong families mean a strong society. The second is the International Conference on Societies of Opportunity, because beyond our families, there's a need for us to create access to opportunities for the members of society, particularly groups who may be disadvantaged. This ensures that within our societies, social mobility can be achieved. And the third is this NCSS Social Service Summit, for which we are all here today. As a sector, we have come together to collaborate and innovate in order to better meet the needs of our people and our society. The theme of this year's summit is transforming the future of social service through talent and technology. It's indeed opportune for us to consider our sector's future amidst the changing local, global, and technological landscape. Around the world, demographic, societal, and global trends spell a greater need for social sectors, social services. At home, we face an aging society and rising demand for health and social workers. Mental health is also a growing concern, especially among our youth. Globally, we witness rising trade barriers, increasing geopolitical tensions, and conflicts around the world. Growing costs and employment uncertainties may become a reality. Many countries also face rising inequality, as we discussed 3 months ago at the inaugural International Conference on Societies of Opportunity that some of you attended. And yet, our changing world presents new possibilities, especially in the realm of technological advancements and artificial intelligence, or AI. The development of technology and AI is rapid and has an undeniable impact on our social service sector. Let me begin by unpacking what the advancement of technology might mean for us. As social service practitioners, I believe we must be mindful of the impact of technology in at least 2 key areas. First, we must be mindful of its impact on society. With increased access to technology, we can connect with family, friends, and even strangers at the touch of a button. Yet, this same ease of access could lead to an increase in social isolation. With the digital convenience of delivery apps, online meeting platforms, and digital entertainment, an individual can actually live without any physical social interaction. while technology has given us access to media content, social media has an impact, especially on the mental health of many of us, particularly our young. It can be easy to compare ourselves, our circumstances, and our lives with curated content online. Some studies have tracked an increase in rates of depression and anxiety due to social media usage. The rise of technology may also leave some behind. We have already seen some displaced from their jobs by AI. Older adults and those not proficient with tech skills may struggle to function in a society which assumes digital fluency. These are just some of the very real issues that face our society and our clients. As part of the social service sector, we must become familiar with them. Second, we must be aware of how technology and AI impacts our sector specifically. Connectedness through technology sparks greater opportunity for sharing data, information, and research findings. This can mean more seamless coordination of services for our clients and stronger interventions as we better collaborate with one another. However, we must be extra vigilant of data security. We have seen how poor cyber security can lead to data leaks and misuse. There's also greater reach in our service delivery as AI chatbots, virtual assistants, and remote services such as online counseling become more prevalent. I read a particular book by Dr. Lee Fei titled The Worlds I See. I recommend all of you to read this. A good introduction to AI. She says, and I quote, "Still, even the flashiest hardware is a means to an end, which is why the guiding principle of our work remains the well-being of people, not merely the efficiency of processes." This perfectly encapsulates the attitude which we must approach technology and AI in our field. Ultimately, we are a sector built on heart and soul. Our use of data, technology, and AI can allow us to provide more personalized and targeted care. But the human touch and empathy with which we deliver our services can and must be evident even as we leverage technology for service delivery. So what is the way forward for us as a sector? I believe there are three key moves we must make to remain dynamic, forward-looking, and future-ready. First, we must leverage technology for greater impact. Second, we must continue to develop social service agencies, or SSAs, that are strong and capable. And third, we must uplift professionals within the sector. Let me elaborate. First, we will help agencies and professionals leverage technology for greater impact as the volume and complexity of our work increases. NCSS President Anita mentioned the strategies that NCSS is adopting to enhance digitalization. Allow me to take a macro lens and share our overarching vision for digital transformation in the sector. We envision a social service sector enabled by technology, one that is innovative, data-powered, efficient, accessible, and linked, or ideal for short. Let me elaborate. First, an innovative sector is one that proactively leverages emerging technologies that impact social services. Second, a data-powered sector is empowered to make better decisions based on evidence to maximize the impact of our work. Third, services can be made more efficient but also accessible by leveraging AI, automation, and digital experiences where appropriate. Lastly, digitalization can help us link our ecosystem through providing common platforms to coordinate services and share data effectively. This complements our broader efforts to encourage strategic partnerships and collaborations across the sector. To realize this vision for digital transformation, we will start by ensuring our systems are well integrated and support service delivery. Over the years, those in Singapore will know we have rolled out systems such as SSNet, OneCV, and Case Connect to improve the integration of social services. Building on these efforts, MSF will be rolling out a new system named Case Central to replace SSNet progressively. Leveraging new technologies such as AI, Case Central will transform case management through streamlined processes, automated workflows, and providing holistic insights on clients and their families. This will enable MSF and SSAs to deliver integrated and timely support for our clients. To complement our systems, we'll also implement digital tools that support the sector. One example, as Anita had mentioned, is Scribe, an AI-powered tool that transcribes and summarizes conversations in multiple languages, including English, Mandarin, Malay, Chinese, and even Singlish in case notes. For those who don't know what Singlish is, it's a mix of English and everything else we speak in Singapore. This was developed by Open Government Products, OGP, and made available to eligible SSAs since January this year. With these new systems and tools, we can leverage technology to enhance our sector's reach, deepen our impact, and better serve those in need. Our second move is to strengthen SSAs. We are deeply invested in doing so, and we've already come some way. For example, in 2022, NCSS launched the Organizational Health Framework for Social Services. This comprehensive tool allows SSAs to assess themselves across multiple domains and identify areas of growth and improvement. As of mid last month, 46 SSAs that embark on capability building projects with support from the Community Capability Trusts saw improvements in their scores under the framework. This reflects that they have become better equipped to provide effective services. We will do more. This SG60 year, we want to recognize and amplify the tremendous impact the SS make in shaping lives and communities. To honor their impact and empower their future, I'm heartened that the sector can now benefit from the $7.5 million SG Towards Sustainability Fund. So this is available, please tap on it. The fund will provide a special one-off grant of $30,000 to eligible SSAs to encourage them to build robust capabilities for measuring the impact of their programs in a systematic and meaningful way. With enhanced evaluation capabilities, SSAs will be better equipped to assess the effectiveness of their initiatives, refine their services, and deliver stronger support for their clients. They will also be in a better position to attract sustained funding from donors, which ensures that their impactful programs continue to thrive. With these efforts, it's both timely and critical to strengthen NCSS roles from membership body to sector developer, as NCSS President Anita mentioned. And therefore, NCSS will journey alongside SSAs and continue to offer relevant resources where applicable to complement the SG60 Towards Sustainability Fund. Ladies and gentlemen, SSAs are the cornerstone of our social service landscape. We remain committed to recognizing their contributions, amplifying their impact, and strengthening their capabilities. Now, allow me to turn to another important group, the social service professionals themselves. Our professionals are at the heart of the social service sector. Today, we have more than 20,000 in a wide range of job roles, from social workers, psychologists, occupational and speech therapists, to youth workers and professionals in corporate functions, just to name a few. Their commitment, expertise, and service are an immense contribution to our society. This is precisely why MSF designated this SG60 year as the year for celebrating social service professionals. As we reflect on our journey and envision the path ahead, it's vital to honor the contributions of social service professionals because they have been instrumental in shaping Singapore into a more compassionate and caring nation. This year, we have publicized the meaningful work of social service professionals on various channels to raise awareness of the different roles of the sector and inspire greater appreciation for their many contributions. We also launched the Social Services Heritage Trail in partnership with Singapore University of Social Services to tell the story of our sector and its professionals. Through a journey across key historical sites, the trail showcases how communities and individuals step forward to support those in need. Later this evening, the inaugural Social Service Professionals Awards will also be presented. This will acknowledge the excellent work of diverse professionals across career fields, ranging from social work to therapy to even corporate services. On top of recognizing professionals, we are committed to supporting them in the important work they do. To retain our dedicated professionals, the sector must also offer salaries that reflect their hard work and skill sets. That's why we regularly review the salary ranges in our skills and salary guidelines and engage employers to strengthen adherence to them to ensure that the sector is competitive and talented people want to join us. Today, about 80% of employees in the social service sector are paid according to this guideline. We'll continue to uplift our social service professionals at each stage of their careers, from offering avenues and grants for professional development and upskilling to working with SSAs to create supportive and empowering work environments. Allow me to conclude by quoting a well-known saying, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." It's coming together that we have the confidence to face the challenges and harness the opportunities of the future. At this juncture, I would like to thank all our partners for journeying with us over the years. In particular, I want to celebrate our social service professionals. You have worked tirelessly to serve the community with passion and commitments. Thank you for making our society more caring and inclusive. May our time together at the summit allow us to foster stronger collaborations, learn from each other, and develop new capabilities that will strengthen our sector. I wish you all a fruitful time at the summit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. So this year, as we mark the year of celebrating social service professionals, it truly is inspiring to see how we're building a stronger workforce through multiple approaches. We look forward to the sector's continued growth, where our professionals are empowered by technology and also supported by the passionate community partners to create an even greater impact. We will now be moving on to our very first keynote presentation. It is my privilege to introduce Professor Aawatif Hayar, who joins us this morning to share her expertise in navigating the unprecedented opportunities that technology brings to social service. Through her lens of strategic foresight, we will explore how digital transformation can enhance social connection in service delivery. So everybody, please join me in welcoming Professor Aawatif Hayar. Professor, please.
Ah, okay. Yeah. I want it in the middle, but it's okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Mr. the Minister, Masagos Zulkifli, Minister for Social Family Development, the Deputy Minister, Madam the President of the National Council for Social Service, Madam the Executive Chief of National Council of Social Service, Board of NCSS, distinguished guests, delegates, experts, dear audience, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah ta'ala wa barakatuh. I would like to thank Minister Masagos, Zulkifli, and Madam Anita for inviting me to join you today at this Summit of Social Service 2025 here in Singapore. I'm very proud in joining and in sharing our vision for the development of social service using technology. Thank you very much. So my presentation today, so maybe I will say a few words about my profile. So I'm, as was said, I'm professor at university, different universities. So I'm advisor at the University Mohammed VI Polytechnic in Ben Gurion, advisor in frugal social smart cities, and I was former Minister of Solidarity, Social Integration and Family, and before that I was president of the largest university in Morocco, University Hassan II of Casablanca. So it's my pleasure to be with you today and share this presentation on artificial intelligence and frugal innovation, how artificial intelligence combined to frugal innovation can empower resilience and social connection. So the outline of my presentation will be about introducing the welfare state models and features, and after that I will talk about AI, artificial intelligence powered social service, and then introduce the frugal social approach we are pushing, and give some examples and illustrations from Morocco, and conclude with some perspectives on artificial intelligence powered frugal social cognitive cyber physical system. So to answer or to address the climb, we should focus more on, we should focus not only on efficiency and digitalization and automation, but focus also on how technology and how artificial intelligence tools can develop the inclusion, for dignity, for care. So this is very important. So here I will present some welfare models from known models that are Scandinavians, German, French, and Anglo-Saxon. So they differ significantly from each other, and they are not monolithic. So for instance, the Scandinavian model is more addressing universal coverage, and it is based on high taxes and with the strong role of the state. And its resilience, it's known for its resilience. It's due to the strong public trust and equality culture that is strongly embedded. In contrast, we have the Anglo-Saxon model, which is based on means-tested benefits and with the limited role of the state, and relying strongly on the markets and also on general taxation. This model has shown some limitation well, it secures a minimum welfare or a minimum safety network, but it has shown some limitation, especially during shocks like COVID-19, for example. So these models, they reflect different institutional philosophies, and the institutional DNA of each model determine how it is resilient, how it answers shocks, how it adapts to digital transformation, how it fosters social connection and disruptive world. And here comes the artificial intelligence, where can be enters as enabler and as disruptor. So digitalization in social service is the systematic integration of technology in on how welfare is governed, delivered, how we shift from paper-based to technology, to data-driven and user platform-centered, user-centered platforms. So this is a kind of paradigm shift in statecraft. So the artificial intelligence-enabled digital systems can turn bureaucratic process into human-centered transformation. So the difference between the traditional social service delivery and digital delivery of the social service, it's not only in delivering the service, it should be by design, embedded in the whole transformation process, and digital augmented social service model is not about, as I said, replacing people. It's about freeing up human and dealing with scarcity. We know in social field that we have a problem with human resources. We don't have enough human resources. But when you use digitalization and artificial intelligence, we will free time for human resources. So they can focus more on complex cases, on empathy, on so it's really a great transformation of social service, so that we can focus more on, as I said, on inclusion, on dignity. I will present here some the origin of this using digitalization in social service or in social field in general. The work starts with Dick Schor's thesis, and he was the first one who created a journal dedicated to social service. It was in 1985. And then a community which is called Hosita was created, and now it's still until now active and advocating for digitalization as a public infrastructure and not private outsourcing. And it's really really reframed tech in social services as a governance and not just as service delivery. So this approach is now mainstream, and it is even called by OECD as a human-centric artificial intelligence. So I want here to also to show the evolution of the use of digitalization in social services. And after the work of choice, it was Jane Fontaine's. She developed in her thesis the institutional frame or the institutional view of the digitalization in social service. And her known book, which is Building the Virtual State. And today, as government deploy artificial intelligence in service, social service delivery, we must ask ourselves if the institution is ready. Are the decision-making transparent enough to be automated? So the Fontaine's work reminds us that the resilience isn't about bouncing back, it's about reconfiguring systems as they are stronger next time. So I want you to show a country which is known for its digital transformation and especially the Smart Nation model that was launched by Prime Minister in 2014. And now to drive the national effort and transform Singapore to a smart nation and harness digital innovation in public goods. So I would like to congratulate you and congratulate the country and the minister for this leadership in using technology for public good. So some figures from Singapore, and especially in health and social support. So 99% online accessibility, global leader. Singapore ranks first worldwide for digital inclusion and assistive technology, 100%. So I will move now on how artificial intelligence can power social service. But first, maybe, what is artificial intelligence? Because we are here in a social network, I would say. So maybe people don't know the origin of artificial intelligence and what is artificial intelligence. So it was developed to mimic human intelligence and has evolved over time, so that now we find it in a daily life and everywhere. So the one who coined this word artificial intelligence, who is John McCarthy, he said that as soon as it works, no one calls it artificial intelligence anymore. So in fact, even artificial intelligence was after the work of Norbert Wiener. Norbert Wiener was is the father of the cybernetics. And it was in Massey conference, it was in 42, it started in 1942. And it was like a cross between different mathematical fields and neurology field and automation field. And this was really the foundation work of cybernetics. And then comes the conference of Dortmund, with the leader, led by John McCarthy and other famous names that you can see here, and it was the starting of artificial intelligence. So you can say why we didn't heard about since the 50 till now, because artificial intelligence use a huge amount of data. So we didn't have at that time the processors that can process and treat this huge amount of data. Now we have progress in technology, in microelectronics. So we have the big servers that can process data. So now it comes back because we have the ability, the technological ability to process data and to take advantage from artificial intelligence. So I will not go in details on artificial intelligence. I'm an engineer, but I know that the audience is from different background. So I will not detail deep learning, machine learning, different neural network, etc. I will not go in these technical details. But I want to highlight one important component of artificial intelligence, which is cyber-physical system. So the cyber-physical system is like a hybrid component with the virtual part and the physical world. And this, it's like we create a digital copy of the physical world that mimic everything in the physical world. So take over and monitor the physical world in order to optimize the performance, in order to improve the functionalities of this physical world. So from the cyber-physical, we can find it everywhere, in factories, in different fields and sectors. And now we are more talking about a cognitive cyber-physical system. Cognitive cyber-physical system is when we incorporate artificial intelligence that can take decisions. So we are talking about cognition, producing new things. The evolution of AI from generative AI, like ChatGPT, it's a generative AI, artificial intelligence, so it produces new texts, it produces new images. We are now moving from generative artificial intelligence to agentic artificial intelligence, where we have agents, autonomous agents that are executing different tasks but taking decisions. This is very important. And we, in the future, in the very soon future, I have even seen a keynote from NVIDIA and CEO, and he's talking about in the coming years we will have robots everywhere in the real world, interacting with the real world. But the cognition is in the fact that this robot will be able in real time to address a new situation and to adapt to, and to react, and to take decision, even if they were not trained before on this new situation. So we are really moving forward the very revolution, which we are talking now about physical artificial intelligence. So we can find it everywhere. I will, just to save time, I will progress a bit quickly. So in Morocco, we have developed, you have on the right side the images from Morocco. I supervised the work at University Mohammed VI Polytechnic, where we have developed the first digital twin of the campus, of a part of the campus. So we have now artificial intelligence agent that is monitoring energy, security, alarms, water, etc. It's monitoring all the functionalities of the campus, and this can be scaled up, of course, to cities, can be scaled up to social work, and I will talk about. So this was the first work in Morocco implementing real artificial intelligence-based smart campus digital twin. We talk also about augmented cities, and I will come back to that. So all of you know ChatGPT. There are other tools, of course, and now it's really a reality in our life. From 23 to 25, we moved from 100 million users to now 800 million users weekly. So it's really, we use it everywhere and daily. And so artificial intelligence powered social service, it's really the future of social service. So we can use the robot, we can use the collect data, profile for example, for elderly, we have the sensors that can, we collect data from sensors, so we know we can, if there is any health issue, we send it, we alert the doctor, and we can assist the elderly with the robot. But is this what we are looking for? I will come back to this. So we can use robot everywhere, and it really will help us to reduce the bureaucracy, accelerate the process. So this is the future. We have also it's using natural language, of course. It's real-time monitoring. It's data-driven decision. Artificial intelligence enable personalized and profiled evidence-based intervention. So it saves time, as I said, because we don't have enough social workers. So it saves time, and it saves resources, and so that the social workers can focus more on, as I said, complex social situation or cases. But it has some risks. So the risk is what we call bias and discrimination, because we are dealing with data. We are processing data to profile the situation. So if data is limited, we are talking about limited sector with the vulnerability, which is not large amount of data. So these analyses can have some bias and discrimination and can exclude some vulnerable population or groups. It has a very serious issue on privacy. I will come back to this. It's very important and sensitive social data, so we need to be careful about privacy. Also, transparency, also energy consumption. Our agency of International Energy Agency, they said that by 2030, we will quadruple the energy consumption because of AI servers. So there is a serious energy issue. So So then, this is why we push for frugality, and we introduce this concept of frugality, which is not new, by the way, because it's central in the life and the philosophy of Gandhi. It's for us Muslims, and in Morocco we have the Sufis, and this is a very strong part of the Sufism philosophy. Here in Asia, there's also Taoism, and it's frugality. It's a pillar of Taoism. So frugality is not just using less resources or economy in resources. It's really how we explore inside oneself, and how we can use our own energies to answer our own challenges. So we save money, we save the cost is we improve cost, but the most important thing is we build solution that we master. We build local solution for local challenges, and this is very important for resilience and for sustainability and for decreasing dependence on outside the country solution. So I was inspired by this approach, and I proposed in 2014 an approach which is based, call it frugal social cyber physical system innovation process. So we have in the heart artificial intelligence engine or machine or cyber cognitive physical system that collect data from everywhere and identify challenges. For example, if you want to connect all the systems from all the ministries, you will need time, you will need money, you will need. But using data, using artificial intelligence data analysis, you can collect data from all the platforms and identify the challenges. For example, challenges in Morocco are not the challenges, social challenges in Singapore or in France or in US. So thanks to this artificial intelligence data analysis, we can focus on the local challenges, but also which is important is that as politics and as decision makers, we can prioritize topics. And for example, I will focus more on elderly, or I will focus on diverse, on family, or I will focus on abandoned kids. It depends on our own strategy as decision makers, and also we will answer. The frugal approach recommend us to use our local energies and our local resources. For example, if we want to address elderly, we will not only go for artificial intelligence and look for social workers. We can look for family members. Some of the family members are maybe unemployed, so we can train them. We can train them so that they can be a social assistant. So we will save money, we will strengthen social bonds, and we will strengthen also resilience. So this is frugality approach. Start from your own energies and go through your own talents. So this is why we recommend to connect and to the universities and find solution through universities in a very virtual cycle, of course respecting our ethics, our culture, and this is like a Maslow. We answer the urgent needs, and then we go to other needs, etc. So this was I didn't mention it in the slide, but it's in public. We received the prize and we were recognized by IEEE in 2015 as innovative approach for smart city, which is frugal social smart city. So we were recognized in 2015 as a very innovative perspective or angle to address smart cities. So this work was inspired by the vision of His Majesty King Mohammed VI of Morocco, who is, during the 25 years of his reign, he's working to implement a social state in Morocco. And from different perspectives, from legal perspective, from human rights, from even a religious perspective, because we have revised twice the family code, which has a strong religious component, and we, as Amir Mominin, or commander of Fightful, he recommended to explore Islamic law and Islamic guidance, how we can balance or improve gender equality and balance between men and women in the family. And also using technology, we recently, the social protection project led by, launched by the King in 21, used technology to secure health coverage and social protection for all the Moroccan. Even if they pay, or they don't pay. It's a solidarity-based approach, and in a very few months, I was at the government at that time, we have succeeded in a very few months, in 2 months, to register more than 15 million persons and deliver financial aid to 12 million Moroccan, which is about 4 million family. It wasn't possible without digitalization. So we use what we call the social unified register. I can talk about that. So social bonds are really embedded in our culture. Solidarity and strong social bonds are deeply rooted in Moroccan culture. You all know about the Moroccan footballers and how family was behind their success in Qatar FIFA World Cup. And when the king received the footballers, he received the mothers also with them. So also when we had the earthquake in 2023, all the country was mobilized to help the population affected by the earthquake. And these images from a very poor and vulnerable person who has nothing at home, but he took what he has at home and went to give it to the population in a house in where the earthquake was. So it's really, social bonds are for us very important, and we don't want technology to replace our social bond, and we want to imagine a future of social work that is preserving our social bonds and our family DNA. So when I was at the minister, I used this approach to implement a policy, a social policy, which is inspired from this frugal social approach, and it has artificial intelligence and digital embedded. So we work on digitalizing the social infrastructure, but we focus on women, on mothers, and how to train mothers on digital skills and how to accompany family. So that we can ease their life through digital. For example, we proposed the concept for online kindergarten, so that the mothers or mother households that have kids at home, they can also connect kids with other kids, and they can have time to be trained or starting their own business. So we created one-stop smart social desk, which was a frugal approach in the sense that we didn't buy a new infrastructure. We just used the existing social platforms or social centers, but we digitalized them even in the rural area, even in the mountains, because sometimes in the mountains you have only one social center. But we capitalize on it so that it is like a gateway to all the ecosystem of social and we use the data analysis collection to profile the beneficiary. So I will cite very quickly 2 projects. One was about empowering women in a rural area, and especially vulnerable women. So in a few weeks, we launched platforms, and we registered more than 80,000 women from all the regions of Morocco. And some of these women, they didn't have the capacity, the possibility to buy the connection and to buy internet connection. So we invited them to the nearest center, which we have digitalized, and we opened them session for training, for soft skills training, for digital skills training. And also, some of these women, they speak not Arabic, they speak Amazigh, which is the local language. So and the platforms, they are in Arabic or in French or in English. So we used our social workers, we train them, so that when the lady come to the center, we make translation from her from Amazigh to Arabic, so that she can benefit also from the training session, even if she hasn't no idea about the Arabic or language. And now, when I was at the minister, I was using artificial intelligence to make an automatic translation from Arabic to English, so that, for example, the lady, she is making couscous or she's making Moroccan dress. You see, I'm wearing Moroccan dress, but she can use artificial intelligence to connect to clients worldwide and to have a website and to, so there are a lot of opportunities creating social integration and opportunity for vulnerable people. Now I am working with the University Mohammed VI Polytechnic and City of Benguir to develop more these projects. So I finished with people with disabilities. So I launched the Smart card, which is a card that people with disabilities start with evaluation, social and medical evaluation, so that we address the needs, and machine learning or artificial intelligence agent can map their needs to the open social programs, because there are a lot of social programs that are open, but they don't need how to access to, and they are in belong different ministry. But thanks to artificial intelligence and machine learning, we can identify all these programs and make a mapping between social needs that were identified by the medical social evaluation process, and open to them, empowerment opportunities, and to open to them employment, and help them to be well integrated in the society. So to conclude, key takeaways is frugal artificial intelligence, social artificial intelligence, sovereign very important, because when you are using artificial intelligence models that are built outside your country, you have it can orient opinions. So it doesn't necessarily respect your culture. So we are working now in Morocco to develop with international partners, but to develop our own artificial intelligence models. I know that some Arabic countries, in Arabia Saudi, in Qatar, in Emirates, they have already started that, but we are working to develop our own, and we are open to collaborate with all of you. So the conclusion, to be on time, is the future is hybrid. It's not artificial intelligence will replace human, or artificial intelligence will do everything. In fact, the conclusion is that artificial intelligence should to be as enabler, enhancing human potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Hayar. Please do remain on stage as we'll guide you to your seat. Joining us on stage as well, we'd like to invite Ms. Janet Young, Head of Group Channels and Digitalization, Strategic Communications and Brand at UOB, also an NCSS board member. I'll also like to invite Mr. Rob Sturrock, Program Director at ACOS. We're also grateful to have Ms. Tan Lee San, CEO of NCSS, who will be facilitating this next segment. So ladies and gentlemen, throughout this next session that will be taking place on stage, we encourage you to be a part of the conversation by submitting your questions through Pigeonhole. You can access this by scanning the QR code that you see on the screen right now. So let us hear from our panel as they exchange valuable insights and learnings from their own experiences. Ms. Tan, take it away.
Hi, thank you very much. Very good morning, Minister, distinguished guests, partners, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thank Professor Hayar for that immensely thought-provoking and really extensive sharing. Thank you very much. And thank you for joining us on this panel. I am also very happy to have with us on this panel Rob Sturrock from the Australian Council of Social Service. So I had the pleasure of meeting Rob 2 years ago when I visited Sydney. So thank you for coming. Also Janet, of course, from UOB and NCSS board member. Janet has led and advised digitalization of many sectors in Singapore. So we're very happy to have her. So this morning's panel, we're talking about the impact of technology on today's and tomorrow's social service. I think we all know, and we've all heard, the power of technology in transforming sectors, and certainly the social service sector is no exception. we've heard about the potential for social services, and I really like what you say, Professor Hayar, about how digitalization is about the systematic integration of digital technologies, not just about digitizing forms. For service users as well, the power to connect with the world and access services through technology. But I think we've also heard that there are potential risks and challenges. So this morning, we'd like to hear really, the experiences of different countries, the experiences of different sectors in terms of the opportunities and challenges that we've encountered, and importantly, what we can take away by way of learning points. So Professor Hayar, you've spoken a lot. We'll give you a little break. Maybe I'll invite Rob. Would you like to start and share with us Australia's experience?
Yeah, sure. Look, it's an incredible privilege to be here, so thank you for having me. And to the foreign delegates who I met yesterday, it's a pleasure to be here with you. And thank you, Minister. And happy birthday to Singapore, 60 years old. Incredible. Look, a lot of what the Professor went through in her presentation really resonated with me. So I come from the Australian Council of Social Service. We are an independent, non-government peak body for what we would say is community services in Australia. All sorts of agencies that would be here in this room. We're a federated structure, so you have a federal government, you have state and territories, you have local councils, and you have about 26 million people sprawled across a very large landmass. So our problem is that the digital transformation for our sector, it's uneven at the moment. You can see where it's starting to go in terms of the building in of new digital platforms and technologies and, of course, AI. But it is very inconsistent. And I guess to the Professor's point around the systematic sort of implementation and embedding of powerful tools like AI, we're not seeing that yet in Australia. We're seeing some very good examples. For instance, there's one in our sector. It's a legal service, provides community legal services to people in need and vulnerable persons. They had an incredible project that they have delivered where they have developed an AI language tool. So people that might not be familiar with the legal system or how to describe their own complex legal problems can use this tool, so in their own language they can describe their legal needs, and the tool will then match them to the fitting and appropriate legal service. Now behind that tool was a lot of extensive consultation, making sure that the AI tool was drawing on the language and the culture and the experiences of a diverse range of communities. There were strong ethical guardrails, and there was a lot of work by lawyers behind the scenes. I think that's a leading example from Australia where you're seeing digital tools like AI be built into systems. I think at this point in time, the general experience of our sector is that AI and those sort of platforms are being used in creating content. So if you're writing business development proposals or communications and marketing proposals, or for instance doing desktop research, that's where we're using those tools. There was a very comprehensive survey done in Australia at the end of last year that showed about 3/4 of the respondents from our sector were using generative AI in their day-to-day work, that creating content, but only about 10% had an actual plan for how to use AI in their services, and only about 1/3 of respondents, about 32%, were investing actively in AI. So it's still very much, I think, at the emerging stage in Australia. And of course, what we really need from the Australian context is government investment and support to help our sector's capabilities, and so we can build those platforms for the future. So at the moment, the future is still slowly unraveling, I would say.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Rob. Janet, would you like to share?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Minister and fellow social service agencies. I was actually amazed listening to Dr. Hayar, because her extensive sharing, and I think right now with Rob, and then thinking through when I was sitting down there using technology, ChatGPT and Googling at the same time, because I also took a look at how Singapore's journey, and Singapore is a very organized country. We are very organized, and I was amazed that Dr. Hayar took Smart Nation, because I started looking at when did we start this whole journey ourselves, both in terms of sector transformation, and it was in the year of 2016, actually 10 years ago, when the Industry Transformation Map, by that time the Future Economy Council, FEC, and that kind of led to 23 sectors, and social service being one, and the sector that I work in, day job, finance, is another one. So back in 2017, the different sectors have already started looking at digital transformation, roadmap, and how do we look ahead. That time, many of you may or may not remember, is the time when China and US started already the bifurcation of using technology. Dr. Hayar, you will remember, if you operate in this part of the world, you hear of GAFA, Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, and BAT, BAT, Baidu, Alibaba, and Tencent. And those days, that transformed how we feel our daily life must be. So social service, like everyone else, are made of individuals. Individuals that then start to interact every day. Ubiquitous things like payment, where we come from. So Pay Now, which is a Singapore payment system, was introduced in 2017. So at that time, you would think of, do I use a phone to pay another phone? And you think, oh, you can now, right? So in social service, the transformation map that guide the different agencies, and I think NCSS coming together, and led to the next big thing we call the social service industry digital plan was launched, and it guided and helped the sector, the ecosystem, the professionals, the users, and then the social service agencies. So if you think about our experience, it's a very organized, highly planned, but at the same time very inclusive. That was how I want to kind of share the experience around emerging technologies affecting, social service agencies. But I think Anita, chairman, at her opening speech said there wasn't a bigger digital transformation officer than the COVID-19, right? That was how me, 5 years into the sector, got roped in. The COVID truly accelerated everything. Everything that the social service agencies thought, I will plan, I will do, but let me think about it. I think after COVID, the pace, the adoption became, there wasn't a choice. There was no choice but to adopt because service users got disrupted. How else can you stay connected? How else can you stay engaged? How else can you make sure your volunteers, your professionals, your donors continue to be able to work with you, help you, and then service deliveries doesn't get impacted? I think these are the reasons why emerging technologies keep everyone today with the expectation that is 24/7, always on, always in touch, and hopefully no downtime. And technology can help that so that humans can work on higher order, better care, and better contextualizing and making judgment on what to do.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Janet. And thanks for mentioning our digitalization plan for social services. Indeed, the idea was to, build capability and to also, free up our care workers to provide more personalized care, not less, right? Because of the data that they are able to access. I think you also talked about the ubiquity of tech and Rob as well, Gen AI. But I think what you shared suggests that there's a lot more potential for us to implement these in the social service sector. I think this morning, Minister also talked about how sometimes we assume digital fluency, which means, the potential exclusion of some groups. So I wonder whether, maybe the next question would really be how might, government and policymakers support our citizens, support our service users, and also support social service professionals and the agencies to better embrace and also, I guess, mitigate some of the risks that arise from these challenges. Professor Hayar?
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for presenting the view from Australia and from Singapore that I know, and again, congratulations for being well advanced in the digitalization of social service. of course, we need institutional vision and the politics adopt, because before the citizens and ecosystem adopt this approach, we need the politics themselves to be convinced that this is the way to go and not to be old school, or this is very important, because at the end of the day, they are the ones who are making laws, making legal framework, and so we need to really to synthesize them first. And you have already the vision, you have already the policies that are incorporating the digitalization, and maybe I can just insist on social approach and frugal approach. Why? Because social approach is not only inclusive. Social, because inclusiveness means that you will allow everybody to access to services and leave no one behind. But social approach is even more than that. For example, when you, even if you have solution through artificial intelligence, you can deliver the service. Maybe it's better to go through human solution, because you will, as I said, you have elderly old person in the family. So his daughter, she's employed, so she can maybe trained and be taking care of his father and paid for that. The social protection can pay her a little, but still it's will strengthen social bonds. So this is very important. And also, please don't go for 100% digitalization everywhere, because we need human intelligence. We are talking about artificial intelligence, but we need human intelligence. Because the future of humanity belongs to the human intelligence, because the artificial intelligence cannot be disruptive. The creativity is the characteristic of humanity, and only humans can be creative in the sense that it's transformational, it's disruptive, and sometimes you can adopt artificial intelligence to do everything, so you lose or you forget to do human empowerment. We need to do human empowerment, because everybody is not a problem for the society, it's energy in the society. And we need to train a vulnerable person, people, so that they can participate to the society and to the community with their human intelligence, with their creativity. So no robot can replace human creativity. No robot can do it. So it is very important to and how human creativity, and we conclude with that, how human creativity is strengthened is through social bonds. When you talk to each other, you go for a dinner, you talk to people, you have a social connection, the creativity is stimulated. So if you have people that are isolated, that are working with the computer and with the service delivery online, everything, so they are isolated. You have no social connection. The creativity of humankind will decrease. So we need to have connection. We were created like that by God. So it's our characteristics, and this will be this is our hope in the future. This is our hope in the future. Last thing is about frugality. Energy consumption is a very serious issue. So we need to design low complexity models. You are hearing about, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, etc., different models. So we have to focus on low complexity by design artificial intelligence models, so that they will consume less energy.
Thank you. Thank you for assuring us that humans are still important and needed. Rob, Janet?
Yeah, sure. And look, I would echo a lot of what the professor said there. And I think this is one of the key, probably, calls to action for us as a sector from across the region, across the world, is the human empowerment element, both for our organisations, our workforce, and the people that we help that are in need and really request assistance. from my context in Australia, we're actually at a really exciting moment. We've had a federal government that's been returned for its second term with considerable political capital, and just before that election in late last year, a group of sector leaders, myself included, we handed to the government at the end of its first term what we called the National Not-for-Profit Sector Development Blueprint. It was a 10-year reform roadmap. It was sort of organised alongside the sort of government reform that the federal government was looking at in terms of changes to the way that the public service in Australia would operate. It was organised across 3 pillars. One was around our work with the government. The second pillar was really around the work within the sector, the work that the sector can do without needing to wait for government or outside stakeholders. But the third was around making sure we have a sector that is ready and resilient and able to adapt to incoming future challenges. So of course, digital transformation was top of the list for that pillar. So we have presented to our federal government a blueprint for 10 years that sets out each of the initiatives across a 10-year horizon, the first 1 to 2 years, the middle years, and then years 7 to 10 where we look at the next stage of the plan. But for digital, we have included the need for a stronger digital capability within our workforce, minimum cybersecurity standards, and I think probably critically, and taking a leaf from the strategy you announced this morning for the National Council, the ecosystem and the peer learning. We as a sector have prioritised those in our plan to the government. We've said that when it comes to digital transformation, that we need to see that sort of that collaborative knowledge sharing, tools sharing, resource sharing, sort of having a community of practice as well about the best ways to use digital technology and to adapt to a changing service environment. So for our sector, and for ACOS, the Australian Council of Social Service, at a really interesting point, we have a new government in its second term, and they have what we would say is a shovel-ready plan where they could tackle some of the major structural barriers that confront the whole not-for-profit sector in Australia. The challenge for Australia, and I think this is where we contrast quite starkly with Singapore, is our implementation. That is often in Australia where these plans fall down. The plan is meticulous and it's been well consulted and researched, but we're not that good in Australia at implementing those plans. It's seeing them through from the conception all the way to implementation. And that, in this case, is going to take incredible advocacy and leadership and collaboration from our sector with the federal government and other key stakeholders as well. And there are particular organisations in the social sector in Australia who are really taking the lead on advocating and championing the blueprint and already picking up some of the ideas, particularly around digital transformation, and are bringing the sector together to look at what it can do already in the digital space. So for us, it's going to be about seeing that plan through and starting to embed it over the next sort of 1 to 3 years and really trying to drive some momentum behind it. That's going to be sort of a really main part of my work at the Australian Council of Social Service, but it will have enormous potential if we can get it right. The other thing in the Australian setting is we need to do better at the way we map and collect data that identifies unmet social need in the community, and I know that's a big focus for the National Council, and that's where I see a real opportunity in Australia is the collecting of data so we have a better understanding of where the service gaps are, where the service is being met well, what are the types of services being needed in different communities all across Australia, because we obviously have a concentrated urban population, but we have a lot of populations in regional and remote communities as well. And being able to sort of marry the need on the ground and grassroots and frontline services with sort of the correct investment and targeting of service delivery by our sector. I think there's an enormous opportunity there as well in Australia, and I would love to see us be more shrewd at how we use some of the digital platforms to be able to collect that data and ideally collect it sort of once and use often. That's really important too. I guess the final point I would mention, thinking of the Australian context, is the ethical guardrails. And I think the professor, when she was talking about, human dignity and human empowerment, and I think that's really important in the Australian setting. A few years ago, between about 2015 and 2019, the previous federal government ran a debt recovery service for people that were on income support, so receiving social security payments in Australia, that used automated tools that essentially averaged out the incomes they received across the year and determine that they had debts that needed to be paid to the government. That was not legal. It was incorrect. It caused an incredible amount of distress with very vulnerable populations. But one of the key failures across many in that scenario was there was automated decisions. And I think when we look to include tools, whether it's in our organisation or whether it's sort of across the sector within government, you know, we're talking about not replacing humans, but we can't replace human decision makers either. You know, we need there to be really rigorous, ethical human oversight of when we're using digital and AI tools to make decisions, whether it's a service decision or a funding decision or a payments decision, particularly to vulnerable people. I think that's really important. I think that's a cautionary tale that I can bring from Australia. But the more positive note is that we have this really exciting moment with our national not-for-profit blueprint, and that's going to take a lot of work, but it's a very exciting moment.
Thank you, Rob. And thanks for sharing about your not-for-profit blueprint, NFP blueprint. If I may, it sounds actually a little bit like our social service sector strategic thrust, a 5-year roadmap, which we started in 2017 and then recently refreshed in 2022. Thanks also for reinforcing the importance of human in the loop, right? Human empowerment. Maybe before I invite Janet to share, we're running out of time, so I'm just going to pull out the pigeonhole to also allow our audience to ask a couple of questions to our panelists. If you have any questions, please put that in the pigeonhole, and also if you want to direct it to any particular panelist, please also indicate. So in the meantime, Janet.
I was just going to jump right in to say that actually it is about design, not just for people, but design with people. So the design with people is how we would want to keep the human in the loop. So this, I think, is the essence of all technology implementation, especially now where there's so much discussion on AI tools, Gen AI, and then AGI. 3 principles I feel are really crucial when decision makers, right, boards, SSAs, leadership teams in the different agencies, and us as an ecosystem. I think the part around having got to adopt technology is no longer an option, right? It is now essential to be faster, better, and to reach further. The part around being able to uncover, right? We call it to hear the unheard, to reach the unreached, right? The ability to see the patterns, to have the insights can only come about if you have the data. But the data then needs to be interpreted, right? And the human judgment to interpret and to see what this is all about is where we should devote our resources, our time, and get our social service agencies and professionals skilled and trained, right? So they can take away, you know, the huge amount of case notes, reports that we can help to automate. We can get the report writing, the case notes filing, and all of these to be digitized and to be, you know, used by Gen AI to come up with reports, and free up and let the ability to use our discerning. At the end of the day, the difference between human and machine and how we augment machines, because we train the machine to think and to be able to make better decisions, and the machines augment the human to amplify us and make us faster, better, and, you know, more able to sustain over a longer period of time, actually is around understanding the difference, and that is the ability to discern. It's not about the answers to all the questions, right? We can get Gen AI to do this. It's about what questions should we ask. It's about what questions after we ask that helps us to prioritize. That, I think, is at the heart of how we as a sector can make decisions, because resources are finite. We talked about frugal, right? I learned this a term, frugal AI. Resources are finite. How do we ensure that there's no wastage? The sector has this community capability trust, CCT, right? If we use it, and we saw Anita put up that, you know, 20 million have been used, and a lot of the agencies, 200 over of them, have tapped on it and used 3 of them, and they have all embarked on their journey. They have all started the journey of getting more efficient, more effective, and having the processes digitized, and maybe capturing the data. So this next stage is to bring that further, right? Because we can't step back. We can't step back and go behind. we have to just advance, embrace, and adopt. And to do that, we have to help our service professionals understand how they can become better and not be fearful that they will be disrupted and be out of job, right? Because if they are empowered, if they are augmented, if they are amplified, they can actually do that much more, and the caring, the discussion, the social connection can then be the time they spend working with everyone, right? And the ecosystem, you can talk to fellow SSAs, you can talk to fellow SSAs who have gone through this journey. We work with Care Corner, I know the Faith X team, many of these, they have gone through the journey of taking the first step. And thereafter, how to advance, you can always discuss and look at not just the roadmap, not just at the plan, not just at, the different schemes available to you, but also share learning. Share learning and then be the human that discern for my organization, for my SSA, put the user at the center. Design with the user in mind. Design with the user. And once you design with the user, rather than for the user, you will think about this from a design thinking, user-centric approach. And I think that keeps the human in the middle, and also that the human feels that they are empowered and confident, and that they are able to move ahead and not step back and worry that they will keep having to step back because technology is better than them, right? That main difference, the judgment, will then be guided by, in banking term we use FIT principles, to be fair, to be ethical, to be accountable, and to be transparent, so that data will not be biased and judgment will not be made wrongly, and that will discriminate and made it unfair for different segments in a unfortunate way. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for reinforcing the importance of discernment. But also you pointed out that really we can't roll back technology, right? It's sort of a unrelenting forward movement. And on that note, I think we're getting quite a number of questions, so I'm going to try and see how we can get through more of them, as many of them as possible. So on this note about the benefits of technology and implementation, there seems to be a lot of interest in implementation. I think the question was, the benefits of technology are undeniable, but in practice, new systems are often layered with old ones, leading to bloat, leading to fatigue. I think social service professionals are also finding it difficult to adapt to technology. So I think the question is about whether we have any lessons or insights to share in terms of implementation. I'm also going to combine with another question about, what are the successes in implementation? Are there particular success stories that you have encountered, and perhaps what led to that success?
I can give some insights from my experience when I was at the ministry implementing this policy, which is based on digitalization. And yes, the approach was as I said, at a different level. First, yes, digitalization embedded and by design in the strategy and transforming the infrastructure, but also, and as Madam Janet said, you need to empower people and digital skills, and to demystify for them technology, because they are afraid from technology. They think that technology will take their job. So you need to have a clear strategy for empowerment and training and of your social workers, of your staff, so that from the, at the national level, but also in the territorial level, on the ground. In the ground, you need to train also associations, NGO, all the actors. You need to have a very clear strategy for change, how we call it, la conduite du changement, so to accompany them by, as I say, training, so that they appropriate the transformation and digital transformation, and believe that this will improve their own work condition and improve their ecosystem, And also this will augment them and make them feel, like you said, confident, and this will improve the life for the social workers, but also for the beneficiaries. This is what I can say for we faced this. So when we addressed the training and formation of the staff and social workers, they started to adopt the strategy and to be the advocator of the strategy in the ground and at the beneficiaries level.
I guess I would just add briefly to that. It's, you know, as the professor said, it really comes down to having a clear sort of strategy and an action plan about if you're bringing in new technology or having a new platform that's going to replace an old one. I guess being very clear upfront about what the intended benefits are, how you're going to roll out, whether it's training inside the workforce or with people using the services on the front line, and making sure that you have that sort of methodical, communicated, articulated rollout. I think that's something in Australia that we're also grappling with, as these new platforms come along that can improve efficiency or productivity. You can end up sort of attaching one platform to the next, and then you have a lot of platforms, and maybe they're starting to cancel one another out. For us too, in Australia, and maybe it's similar in some of the countries, you know, that are represented here, and potentially Singapore, it's looking for opportunities to work within our sector and sort of lead by example, because obviously a lot of what we're doing in Australia is trying to advocate for better co-design and collaboration, in my case with the federal government, but we also want to look for those opportunities where we can show the future already, so where the sector can come together, whether that's larger and smaller charities that can work together, or auspice staff or resources, or a peak body like ourselves, helping to create peer learning or communities of practice and show or pilot and trial new ways of doing things and sort of show they work, and in that sense, I guess, build momentum behind a new way of doing things. I'd also say, and the professor was spot on, the need to put into, and Janet too, sorry, the people-centered design. I think this is going to be so critical, as however we roll out new technology and platforms, making sure that we're starting with the people at the center, whether it's the workforce or people using the services, and building the system out. I do think that's critical, because we want to have, particularly for the people we're helping that are in need, it's about dignity in their lives and helping them have dignity in their lives, and we don't want sort of technology or tools to be sort of robbing them of that. So I think person-centered plans that are built out and rolled out methodically are just going to be critical.
I think Professor Hayar would like to add.
Maybe I just add a point. I think the question to answer is the commitment and the mindset at the top. I think that digital transformation is never easy. Adopting technology is never easy. I think with most of us, the usual part is you don't like to step out of your comfort zone. If you don't know, you probably just want to stay back. And I think this is the most important part that social service agencies and boards and leadership teams, need to embrace. And this, I think, even using my day job, within a bank, that's how we started our own journey, right? The very top of the house needs to adopt, and then as a leadership team, we have to agree that this is a strategy. But then we need to roll out very clear plans to help people adopt, and not give no option. So it's not digital only and digital 100%. You need to then have the option. We said, hybrid. Doctor mentioned hybrid, and we talk omni-channel, right? You should be able to offer options, and that people then feel they can slowly calibrate, move. It's not a 0 to 100, but it is a journey, and that's the place that we can, slowly step up. And then the most important thing is, when you first start and you don't succeed, don't give up, right? It is about trying again, learning what did not work, and hearing from others what worked. Because I've heard many of the social service agencies who have adopted donor management systems, volunteer management systems, Care Corner, they were putting a buddy app to help engage, the youth. So all of these may not work the first time, but subsequently you enhance, you improve, you take feedback, and then you iterate, and then you get better. And I think that's the journey of how we should take this whole transformation and the adoption of whether AI and technology.
Thank you. I want just to add quickly that in addition to conducting, change strategy and engaging champion leaders, embracing the strategy, we need quick wins. This is very important. I can give example from my own experience when I launched these platforms to register women from rural area, from mountains to be trained through platforms. Everybody was saying the minister is dreaming. How can we do that? The ladies can even not draw or write a letter. So I said, but AI will do it for them. There's no. They say no. You are dreaming. But when we started in small villages with women and we showcases and we made the communication, they start to believe in. And when I was visiting one of the centers in the mountain, and I met with the women and asked them, "Is it interesting to you?" They said, "Yes." I said, "How it is interesting to you?" They said, "Yeah, no, I learned from the platform how to manage time." Before, when I wake up in the morning, I was anxious because I don't know how to prepare for. I say that I don't have time to prepare breakfast for my kids and manage the house, management, etc. So I was stressed. But when I followed the course about time management, and I learned, when I wake up now, I have a schedule. And I know that at this time I will do this, and I feel better. And this was nothing. But when she received the certificate from the platform, she was like happy, like she feels like it. She went to the university and got a certificate. So these quick wins is very important to showcases and to engage others through quick wins.
Thank you, thank you. So the importance of leadership, of training, of not giving up, I think these are all important messages for all of us in the room. I've been asked to wrap up, so I'm very sorry we didn't manage to get through many of the questions. Please talk to the panelists at tea break. Maybe just one last, if I may ask you to just give one last takeaway. So there is a question here. Professor Hayar, you talk about the frugal approach and tapping on family members. In Singapore, we've been talking a lot about volunteerism. And about how corporates can also play a role, leverage their assets, their strengths, and we have many corporate partners in the room. So maybe the last question, just a quick one, a quick takeaway, what can other ecosystem partners do? What can corporates do? What can our institutes of higher learning? Just one key takeaway for our partners in the room, how can they help to create that dynamic ecosystem?
I guess for mine, look, again, thank you very much for having me this morning. I think for partners, wherever your sector may be located, outside of the sector, it's helping bring the physical or the online space to have the conversations, to share ideas, not just where things are working well, but where things might be a challenge. I think just thinking of the visit that the foreign delegates and I went on yesterday to the Foundry, where you can have a physical space where you collaborate across the sector, I think that's incredibly critical. And I think, when I think of the experience in Australia, for outside stakeholders or corporate partners, in-kind contributions can be just as critical as resourcing. If you can lend your intellectual capital or your physical space to help bring the sector together, I think that's really important. And my last takeaway too is I think it's such a privilege to be in this room, not just with local delegates from Singapore, but across the region from North Africa all the way down to Australia. It would be wonderful if we over time can build our own sort of regional or international ecosystem where we are swapping ideas and giving each other support and solidarity, because this is a really unique moment, and obviously, as we've been talking about this morning, we'll continue to talk about, technology is going to make that communication much easier. So that would be my takeaway. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Contribute to the ecosystem, give expertise and generously work together in a collaborative way, share, and best practices from one sector can help another sector, and I think that is key. Donate and support generously and provide volunteers on a regular basis. So these are how we can help. And I told Lisa and I will call out, use community capability trust to adopt, more, right? Because there's always ability to tap and grow further. So as an ecosystem, we can all help to foster. And now we've got cross-regional best sharing, and there's so much we can learn and share from each other and improve and be better in service delivery and helping the users.
Yes, so my conclusion is think global and act local. Frugality is how you use your own energy to address your own challenges and local challenges. So embrace the global vision and global strategy, but start by changing your own environment. If every one of us starts by working with the environment, sharing knowledge, and contributing to improve our close environment, these energies connected together will make a big change.
Thank you. Thank you very much to the panelists for the wonderful sharing and insights. I think for those of you who want to see real-life implementation of technology, we have a Tribex exhibition across the hall, so do check that out. So once again, thank you all very much.
A very big thank you to all of our panelists. Thank you very much, Professor Hayar, Ms. Young, Mr. Stirrock, and Ms. Tan for those insightful panel discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now be resuming our program. Please do be seated. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and I certainly hope that you had a good tea break. For those of you who are currently networking, not to worry, there will be more opportunities for you to do so later. I would now like to invite everyone to kindly take your seats as we move on right into our next program segment. Happening next on stage, I am pleased to welcome Ms. Trisha Suresh, Head of Public Policy for Southeast Asia at LinkedIn. Leveraging on her expertise in public policy, she will be guiding us through key trends and adaptation strategies that can help future-proof our social service sector. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome everyone to kindly take your seats and also to give her a very big hand.
A very good morning, Minister Masagos, distinguished government leaders, social sector leaders, and friends. My name is Trisha, and we're so thrilled to join you here at today's summit. Today, I want to take you on a journey on the evolving world of work. What is changing, what is emerging, and how all of this impacts the social service sector. Now, we're living through a time of rapid transformation. And with that, change can be daunting, but it also brings opportunity if we've got the right data to drive the right action. I like to start with the why. Oops. Okay, there's a slide missing, but we will make do. I like to first start with the why. Why LinkedIn is here. LinkedIn's vision is to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. This is our true north. It guides everything we do on the platform, the products we develop, the tools we build, and ultimately the partnerships we forge. And one of the important ways in which we work towards this vision of creating economic opportunity is through our data insights. This is what we call LinkedIn's economic graph. Now, LinkedIn's economic graph consists of over 1 billion members globally, over 69 million companies that are represented on the platform, millions of open jobs that are available at any point, tens and thousands of skills and schools that are represented. In Singapore, we have over 4 million members on the LinkedIn platform. Now, this gives us some real-time, unique views of how the labor market is changing, how skills are changing, how jobs are changing, and what emerging technologies like AI have an impact on the future of work. Now, whether or not workers are changing jobs, the big trend that we're seeing on LinkedIn is that our jobs are changing on us. You could stay in the same role for 5 years, but the skills you need to do your job are changing quite rapidly, and I think many of us can already feel this. To understand how fast things are changing, let's rewind to the year 2000. It was not too long ago. It was 25 years ago. There were almost no data scientists. There were definitely no social media managers. There were very few to no HR business partners. Yet these are some in-demand roles on the LinkedIn platform today. In fact, 10% of people hired into job roles today have job titles that did not even exist in the year 2000. And this pace of change is only accelerating. It's not only the jobs that are changing, it's how we define jobs that are also changing. We used to have jobs defined by job titles, but we really need to start thinking about jobs as a collection of skills and tasks. Because emerging technologies like AI, they're not going to replace job titles. They're going to replace certain tasks within our jobs. So it's important we start thinking about our jobs as a collection of tasks and think about what tasks can be automated and which tasks still rely on deep human judgment. Now, we're also seeing that skills needed for jobs are changing very rapidly. Between 2016 and 2023, skills needed for any given job, according to LinkedIn data, had changed by as much as 40%. Even if you had not changed jobs between 2016 and 2023, skills needed to do that job had changed by as much as 40%. Now, we fast forward that out to 2030, and we expect that skills needed to do the exact same job could change by as much as 70% compared to doing that job in 2016. This is the new reality of work. So I think it's important to note that jobs and job titles, they're not going to disappear in the medium term, at least not from some of our analysis and research. But jobs are going to change. We know that AI will impact every single job, but the impact is not going to be same. It's not going to be uniform. And we must understand this nuance because that is key to then preparing our workers for what lies ahead. At LinkedIn, we've been developing a framework, a skills-based framework, to better understand how jobs are changing. We first identified a set of generative AI replicable skills and generative AI complementary skills. We then mapped every occupation based on how much of those skills have AI complementary and AI replicable skills. We then mapped all occupations into 3 broad buckets. There's an insulated category of jobs, there is a disrupted category of jobs, and jobs that are sort of in between. These are augmented categories of jobs. Now, what we find is that care roles, like nurses, mental health practitioners, social service workers, they're generally in the insulated category of jobs because they rely on empathy, they rely on communication, and they rely on trust. And these are skills and traits that AI is less likely to replicate. But roles such as translators, customer service representatives, these are roles that may face more disruptions from AI. And then we've got a middle group of augmented jobs. These are roles such as software engineers, data analysts, and these are jobs that have high AI complementary skills as well as high AI replicable skills. Now, our data shows that women and younger workers are more likely to be impacted by AI. Now, over 71% of job roles held by women in Singapore could face some impact from AI. And this means that they are in job roles that could either be disrupted or augmented by AI. When I look at it from a generation perspective, we see that our younger workers are in job roles that are more likely to be impacted by AI. So over 73% of job roles held by younger workers, our Gen Z workers, are susceptible to some of the impacts brought about by generative AI. Now, what this means is that we must be intentional about how we support these groups through the transition. So what do we do? What do we do? We need to relentlessly invest in skills, and I think we've heard this from so many speakers already today. We need to invest in skills, and specifically, we need to invest in AI skills. Whether it's understanding how to use AI tools, how to understand AI-generated insights, how to build whole AI systems. This is going to be critical to how we will succeed in the years ahead. Now, a question we often get asked at LinkedIn is, what are skills or what are jobs that are coming up in demand? Every year, we put out a Jobs in the Rise report, and it covers several countries, including Singapore. In many countries, we're seeing that AI engineering skills are coming up as some of the top most in-demand jobs on the LinkedIn platform. The AI researcher, AI engineer. But I think it's important for us to note that AI engineering skills are going to be niche, right? Not all of us in this room are going to become AI engineers, but every single one of us must have AI literacy skills. AI literacy skills, AI fluency skills, these skills must become mainstream. And we're seeing the shift already on the LinkedIn platform. In the past year alone, the number of job postings that required AI literacy skills had increased by 6-fold on LinkedIn. And we're also seeing that workers are adding AI literacy skills to their profiles. There's been an increase of 2.8 times, almost 3 times increase, of LinkedIn members adding AI literacy skills to their LinkedIn profiles. Now, this is not just happening in the tech industry, right? It's happening across job functions. We see sales leaders, marketing managers, people in HR, the social service sector leaders, we're all adding AI literacy skills to our LinkedIn profiles. And it's really, AI literacy is really becoming a core skill to the modern workforce. Now, as AI takes on more routine tasks, in an AI economy, we see that human skills are going to become so much more valuable. Skills like communication, like leadership, like teamwork, they're already coming up as some of the most in-demand skills we see from job postings on LinkedIn. And these are the very skills that define the social service sector. So in an AI economy, being human is going to become a competitive advantage. So what does this all mean for social service agencies? It means we're entering a period of transformation, not just in how we work, but how we care for one another. AI is changing the skills we need and how services are being delivered. But it's not the only force at play. We know that Asia is aging and fast. By 2050, 1 in 4 people will be aged above 60. At the same time, we've got shrinking birth rates. We've got declining birth rates, which is shrinking the future workforce. This creates a perfect storm. We have rising demand for care. We've got fewer people to provide for it. And care roles, as I said before, are resilient to AI, yes, but they tend to be harder to fill. This means that we have to prepare. This means we have to prepare for surging demand in elder care, in mental health, in intergenerational services. It means we must address talent shortages by relentlessly investing in workforce development, by supporting retention strategies, and by ensuring that there are career pathways for our workers. It means we have to design inclusive, tech-enabled services that meet the needs of older adults while ensuring that digital tools augment and not replace that very important human connection. Now, all of this is going to impact the communities you all serve, as well as social service agencies in the work you do. Let's start with the communities you serve. The people served by social service agencies are being impacted, but not equally, as we've learned today. LinkedIn's research finds that women, youth, sometimes older workers, are more likely to face disruptions from AI and automation. That means that many clients you work with will need help navigating these job transitions, accessing digital tools, as well as learning new skills. Now, this isn't just about employment. It is about ensuring access and equity in a rapidly changing world of work. And as the world of work is changing, so must we. For social service agencies, this means rethinking how work gets done. Routine tasks, as we've learned today, like scheduling, like documentation, can increasingly be automated. This will free up time for staff to focus on what matters most to them: care, connection, and community. It also means that we must invest in digital skills and data skills so teams can deliver services more effectively and make better informed decisions. And perhaps most importantly, it means we have to double down on our human skills and our soft skills, like empathy, communication, and adaptability. Now, these are not only core to the sector, but also they happen to be some of the most in-demand skills on LinkedIn globally. So where does this all leave us? Now, we're standing at this intersection of two powerful forces. We've got AI technological transformation happening. We've got demographic changes at play. Both are reshaping the world of work, and they're reshaping the world of care. The choices we make now will determine whether these shifts widen inequality or bring up more inclusion, whether they overwhelm our systems or whether they strengthen them, whether we leave more people behind or we bring more people in. LinkedIn is committed, and we deeply believe in a more resilient, inclusive, and human-centered world of work, and we're committed to working through this journey with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Suresh. Please do kindly remain on stage. We're going to guide you to your seat in a moment. So as we've heard, emerging social trends are constantly reshaping how we deliver social services. And to explore these themes further, we will now be moving into another panel discussion where we will highlight practical approaches to enable workplace development and also to enhance service delivery. I am pleased to now welcome on stage our distinguished panelists. Let us welcome Ms. Ong Tun Hui, President of SPD, Vice Dean and Executive Director of the Institute of Governance and Leadership at the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy at NUS. We'll also like to invite Ms. Chan Man-Yi Grace, Chief Executive of the Hong Kong Social Service, as well as Mr. J.R. Karthikeyan, CEO of AWA. Do also join me in welcoming our moderator for today, Mr. Bruce Liu, Director of Capability Implementation and People Strategy at NCSS. Mr. Liu, the stage is yours.
Thanks very much. Almost a good afternoon to everybody. I'm Bruce. I shall not introduce myself by my job title because according to Trisha, that doesn't matter anymore. But if you are still interested, you can read the screen behind me. Yes, and Grace, Puning to Singapore. Yeah, Grace is from Hong Kong.
Yes.
And then the rest, I think the MC has already introduced. I will jump straight into the panel discussion, and I'll lift up some points that Trisha presented first, and then I'll ask the panelists, quite specific questions of how certain aspects that she has mentioned or observed through her presentation applies to people in different organizations. Okay, a few things I picked out, and I hope you did too. I think one of the things she picked up, other than the fact that we shouldn't focus on job titles but skills anymore, is she mentioned that more than 10% of workers hired today have job titles that didn't exist in the year 2000, about 20 years ago. Actually, I'm just wondering, in our sector, and I'll pose this question to Karthik first, right? Since you are a CEO of AWA, and you've been there for about 18 years or so, yeah? So what are some of the social service roles today that you have in AWA that didn't exist 20 years ago?
Good morning. There's an advantage of being on the stage. It's warm here. I have another CEO in AWA.
Really?
Yes, it's called Client Experience Officer. Alistair used to do the job before he moved on to corporate world. We never had that kind of a role in the past. So there are two things that I see in the sector. The professional roles are getting more deeper. In the past, we used to have just a therapist and a HOD. But now we have senior therapist, principal therapist, lead, specialist, we create more layers as we expand and go deeper into our roles. That happens in every professional group. So that is something I have seen that in the last 20 years. We have also created a lot of new roles, like we call impact lead. We never had it. We have analysts. We have, I know some of our friends, Touch has a digital fundraising executive. We have video content production executive. So we have created more such roles in the last 15, 20 years.
Thanks, Karthik. So things related to digital and fundraising, those are some of the new roles. How about Grace in Hong Kong? I'm wondering in Hong Kong, what are some of the new social service roles?
Okay. I really want to echo Trisha's conversation, because you are really right. You know, we have some new role. Particularly over the 20 years, social service actually changed a lot to meet the social service need, actually. Not for innovation, but really we have to serve the society. I have think of two. The first one is digital inclusion programmers. What's that for? For example, last year's in Hong Kong government budget, they have set aside $100 million to support the smart silver digital inclusion programs. Actually, it's for the older persons. Try to find people to help them to understand the technology and also provide training for them. Another one is also interesting. I want to be, this kind of job. The job title is well-being practitioner. Okay, well-being practitioner. It's a true title. It's one of our member agency in Hong Kong. It is for what? It's for training and also the placement program for the people who want to learn how to provide early mental health support and improve the access to the mental health care for those in need. I think this is something that we really appreciate. We changed the job title and serve the need. Trisha, I think you pick up the right things.
The well-being is of the staff or of clients or service users?
The well-being is both.
Both, okay. Very good. Yes, I'd like to apply for the job too. All right, the other thing I picked up from Trisha's presentation is women and younger workers may face more disruption from Gen AI. I think that was, and she had some graphs to show, right, how different either age groups or generations are affected. And I have some figures from our own social service sector. And you may already have known this just by looking around the room, that actually around 70% of employees in the social service sector are females. So we're predominantly female. So that's a vulnerable group according to Trisha. And a large share of our workforce are aged 20 to 39. So that would be your Gen Zs and a bit of the millennials. In fact, the real figures I have it here, the Gen Zs, which are those below the age of 28 or up to 28, we're about 30% of them in the sector. Millennials, about 30 to 45, is about almost 40%. Gen X, that's me. I shall not say what my age group is, but yes, above 45, less than retirement age, is about 24, 25%. Of course, the rest are boomers. So that is the reality of our sector. So I'm not sure, I'll pose this question to Tun Hui. I mean, Tun Hui has spent about 30 years in the public sector. I'm not sure what the makeup is like in the public service, but what have you observed in terms of demographical changes, both in terms of gender as well as age, and maybe share with the audience from a public sector point of view, what are some of the policy changes, approaches that public service has taken to deal with some of these demographic and gender changes?
Okay, thank you very much, Bruce. Maybe useful for me to clarify that based on the data shared by Trisha, I don't think there's anything female or male that AI discriminate against. It's really a function of the sort of jobs that they hold. I think it's important to clarify that. So I think the workforce is very big. So generally, women may tend to be in more administrative role, and therefore their jobs or tasks are more at risk. And likewise, maybe for the younger workers, depending on the job they hold. So I thought it's important to clarify this. And if you go a deep dive, you probably see patterns shift depending on the sector and the roles. And thank you for the opportunity to share some insights from the public sector. The public sector actually face the same workforce challenges like many other organizations, whether you are from the private sector or even the non-profit sector. They too have shortage in niche skills, in demand skills. They too now have to learn to manage 4-generation workforce, as Bruce has highlighted, and each with actually quite distinct needs. And on top of that, they also have to make sure they are attractive to the new entrants to the workforce. And for the public sector, there's also an added self-imposed constraint, not necessarily a bad one, that recognizing that manpower growth is not going to be the norm, and they have to learn how to function in a very flat manpower growth trajectory. So the way the public sector has responded is really to push for transformation and be quite upfront with employees to say that, this is a clarion call, that we have to transform the work, and to bring that about is to transform the workforce and the workplace. So the public sector is pushing very hard, and it's not an easy journey. Transformation is always difficult, but I think the will is there. And we have found that officers now have to explore different ways of working, leverage more on technology, and on top of that, they need more collaborative skills. You want to bring more partners on board so that you multiply your impact. And the officers themselves find too that they need to acquire new skills and competencies. So increasingly, digital data is almost like your reading and writing, basic. So what's the delta? They have to learn to work maybe as one public service to bridge different domains. They have to now learn how to work with different stakeholders, and also they themselves embrace a growth mindset, because there's always this need to adapt. There'll be new technology, new knowledge, and there's only so much you can teach you the content, but they have a propensity to learn, unlearn, and hopefully adapt. Yep.
So upskilling, as according to Trisha as well, one of the takeaways, upskilling is very important.
Just one more point. I think what the public sector is facing today, I think the social sector will eventually face. There's probably still room to grow for the social sector, but eventually you will still come to the same constraints, because we can't grow indefinitely. And therefore, good to start developing some of the muscles today on how do you operate in a lean environment.
Grow in terms of manpower, in terms of actual warm bodies in the sector.
Yes, there's a limit to which you
with the
you
less
want
than
to go
one,
with that strategy.
yeah, total fertility rate, the whole population is not growing as much as well. Okay, before I let's hold that thought. Just want to find out from Hong Kong, what is the percentage of women and young people in Hong Kong social service?
All right, I'll let you know. Actually, the social service sector in Hong Kong is mainly made up of women, okay? Especially in frontline and also the middle management. I think this reflects the global trend of things in social work. For example, I have some data from the Social Workers Registration Board in Hong Kong. By the way, on floor, who are you, social worker? Please raise up your hands. Come on, come on. All right, okay. I let you know, in Hong Kong, we have 28,604 registered social workers in Hong Kong. Among them, around 68% are female. That means less than 10,000 male. We just only have 31%. So this is a very strong indicator that we have a strong representations of women, of social workers in Hong Kong. And also for the younger workers, I have tried to find out some data from the Youth Development Blueprint. It is released in 2022. It so happened that we have about 20% of the working populations in public administration, education, health, and social work, social service are youth aged 15 to 39. So you can imagine that we still have a lot of things to do about talent and also the talent development. By the way, this is the first time I realized that gender and also the age also being affected by the AI. So interesting.
Thanks. So 68% female social workers, and then the rest are male. So I know Anthony, your business director, was a social worker.
Yes.
And he left the social work fraternity as soon as he found his wife. That's what I heard. Anthony, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So, expose this. Oh, PDP, sorry. Yeah, so yes, actually this is not the first time I heard it. I've heard it from many social workers, right, who are female. I asked them, what would they tell their younger self, you know, before or just when they join the social service sector? Quite often I hear that the advice is to please get attached first, because once you get into the social work, it is so tough, you have no time to date. So I suppose that was Anthony's experience as well. Okay, so back to Tun Hui's point, right, about, you know, not having that manpower growth in the sector, and I think Trisha also mentioned it earlier, that talent shortage and human-centric roles, you know, it's particularly hard to close. I mean, even though they are resilient to AI, but that is it's ironical, right? Because they cannot be replaced by AI, yet these are warm bodies. So again, just to share some stats, this is very reflective of our sector. In our sector, the resignation rate of, you know, is slightly higher than the national labor force. So our resignation rate is 21%, and then the national rate is 17%, so slightly higher. So you can imagine it is harder to retain people here. And conversely, the recruitment rate is slightly lower, so it's harder to attract people, although that is partly my job, right? Yeah, it's just slightly, but about the same, 25-26%. Although there's still a net growth, it is still quite, you know, something to watch out for. Some of the professions that are hardest to recruit by the sector is corporate staff, naturally, because it's very porous. We face a lot of competition from both private and public sector. Social workers is hard. I don't know whether, Grace, is that a problem in Hong Kong, recruiting social workers? It's difficult, okay. And then therapists, folks like Kartik, who left his OT job to become the CEO of AWA. Oh, still do OT, okay, good. We still have you, that's excellent. Yeah, so, but maybe back to you, since you're both the OT and CEO of AWA, right? What was your experience, you know, and how to make some of these job roles, I mentioned about social workers, about therapists, how to make them not just survivable, but, you know, attractive and thriving and purposeful?
So one of the big challenge, whether it is Gen X, or whichever generation you are, is to make your job interesting. And my take is, it's not up to the employers always to make our jobs interesting. So it works both ways. It is intrinsic, self-motivating. At the same time, organizations and the sector has a responsibility to make it interesting and attractive. One of the ways that we do in AWA is, very early in my professional career, I realized that our jobs can be sometimes boring and it can be quite dragging. Why I say that? I have done 17 town halls this year, only because I wanted to meet every small groups in my organization, and I wanted to ask this question to them, a little bit more a personal question. I would ask the question here. In this room, there are many practitioners, professionals who has worked with clients directly. How many of you have experienced when you are right in the middle of the session, you actually feel sometimes that the session is dragging? This is very real, right? Your session is actually getting a bit dragging, and that means the session is actually very boring for the client. Whether it is a therapy session or teaching or even counseling session, This is a very real problem that we deal with, especially if you are dealing with special education, early intervention. As an occupational therapist, when I'm treating, I have a benchmark. If my session is boring for me, that means I think 20 minutes I have to get out, because it is actually much more boring for the child or the parents or even for adult clients. But the problem is we have a 50 minutes to clock. And then we continue to give a pegboard and Legos, and then we just drag on and on. So I've asked this question to my spec teachers. How many of you really do that? Kids are coming every day, early morning, 8 o'clock, vans are coming, we offload, okay, we go, there's assembly, after that, we start the session, and then there is some activities going on. Around 11 o'clock, you know that it is dragging, and then you start giving another activity, and it goes on for 12 years. When will we know really whether we have made an impact or not? When the child or the adult is actually going to the community? Is the person able to participate? So the issue here is intrinsic. It's not just organizations designing the services which will make it interesting. So we worked out a care model, which we call it holistic care model. It is not new. I think I have learned from our sector partners, from CPAS, from ARC, from many other partners here. We have worked out a care model which we always remind our staff that we exist for the clients, and our activities should not be boring. Our activities should be meaningful, so that meaning is more important. And we augment it with two strategies: training internally, and we call it, I don't want to call it learning organization, I call it teaching organization, because we got to teach to learn. And the teaching is not always in a classroom, formal teaching. Teaching is, I talk to a colleague over a pantry, a water cooler talk, 2 minutes I can teach something. It could be anything. So it's a teaching organization. Another one is we do have another engine which is very innovations. So innovation and teaching culture will drive the organization forward and individuals forward. So this is what I believe. It doesn't matter whether they are young or old. We have to make it interesting, but it also should come from them. It should be very intrinsic too. So it is both ways.
Intrinsic purpose. I'm curious, Trisha, how does LinkedIn attract talent? Anybody wants to work for LinkedIn here? Now just pay attention. Yes?
I think the way any organization should attract talent is building on what Karthik has shared. Showcase how you as an employer, in this case social service agencies, deliver value to the communities you serve, but also support, encourage, upskill, retain talent in different ways. So it could be showcasing, for example, that you're learning, you've got a really strong, deep learning culture. Some of the data we're seeing from our customers using LinkedIn is that when we invest in employees, we tend to retain them. And investing in employees can come in different ways and forms, right? It can be perks in the office, which maybe not all of us are able to provide, but it can also be support through learning and development programs, for example, support for attending networking events, stretching and engaging employees in different ways.
Thanks. Okay, the other thing, I mean, since you have the mic, you mentioned there's a surging demand for care services, yes, and we need to automate to elevate. Right, I think this was mentioned in the earlier panel as well. Automation is key, but a lot of SSAs are very small. In fact, almost half of the SSAs in the sector has less than 30 employees. So how, I mean, realistically, we want to build future-ready capabilities, at scale. How do we bring people, on this journey without overtaxing them? And we know, right, there's a lot of burnout. People are already not having enough time to do the jobs. How do we invest in transformation without leaving anybody behind? So does anybody, and this is open to all of you, have any observations or advice to give for the small agencies? Zulkifli, yes?
I think this is where shared services, plug-and-play platforms come in helpful. Because for small organizations, you cannot expect them to develop some of this from scratch. It takes too much. They need the talent to do that. So if the hard work can be done by, on a aggregated basis, I think it will help them very much so. And I think it's the same approach even for, say, talent recruitment or even rotation of roles. because you need to keep people challenged and fresh. There's only so much a small organization can offer. So good if they can be part of a larger system, and that's where NCSS play quite a critical role.
Thank you.
In this regard.
Actually, I would love to hear from people from the smaller SSAs. I mean, most of the, from SPD or AWA, I mean, it's a bit big. I don't know, there are mics on the floor. Anybody from a smallish agency would like to see and share, you know, how you remain agile and how you kind of rise up to the challenge of having to transform despite having a small team? Anybody? I would love to hear. Don't be shy. We are all amongst friends here. No pressure. If you don't identify yourself, I will identify you. Anybody? Nobody. Come on, my friends. Where are my friends? Oh yeah, thank you very much. Who? Oh yes. Ah, yes, please. There's somebody at the back. If
Hi, Melissa here from Babes Pregnancy Crisis Support. Yeah, you can't see me, but I can see you. But okay.
yes, we can see on the screen. Somebody was flashing you on the screen.
Yes. So I mean, Babes is a small organization, and the work that we do is very niche. We work with pregnant teens who are 21 years and below. So the agency size at this point, there's actually 9 of us. So I think like what Tun Hui shared earlier, we do leverage on shared services. So some of the services that we currently outsource are payroll, accounting, and we are currently working in partnership with a social media agency so that we can actually work on our digital platforms. So we actually started on TikTok this year. And as we know, to do TikTok, you need to do filming, digital design, content. With a small team of 9, even if I were to hire 2 headcount, it will not be possible to develop the content across all platforms from TikTok, IG, LinkedIn. So that's where, as a small agency, to be agile, we kind of need to also look at how then do we rescope the roles for individual. So at my time in Babes for the last 5 years, we have a bit of job redesign. So for staff having that growth mindset, we are actually not doing the same thing year on year. So as they learn and grow, and as we digitalize, these are skills that year on year we kind of see what can technology do, so that as an individual, the staff can focus on the people and do what the people can do. Yeah, so later at Tribe, there's actually a booth that is by Sea Salt. So just telling a bit, we are actually now looking at how can we also incorporate AI into our helpline, because our helpline is run by volunteers. So really, as a whole ecosystem, we know that as a small agency, manpower is very, very stretched. So for corporate functions, regardless of 10 people, 30 people, 100 people, the function still remains. But as a small agency, we do not have the economy of scale. So that's why working with partners, shared services to keep us going is important. Yeah.
thanks, Melissa. Wow, I didn't realize you've been at Babes for 5 years. Seems like only yesterday since you joined Babes. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think Melissa will mind me sharing this. Melissa used to work with me in the public service division. So very glad to see her making that career switch, well trained in the public sector, hopefully, and now contributing well. Thank you very much, Melissa.
You're not trying to get her back to join the public sector, no, right? So stay in the social service sector, very good. There's only one of 9, you know. If she goes, that's like more than 10% down. And anybody else from a smallest agency that wants to? Oh yes, somebody from the center. Yeah. Yes. A round of applause for this gentleman. Somebody has there's a mic over there on your right. Yeah, where the camera is.
Good morning. My name is Subhash Pitmani. I'm CEO of FAST. I think many of you would be knowing this is the organization which works for foreign domestic workers. It's a very serious problem to keep the staff engaged in any service. We have a unique way of finding, although we are almost 20 years old organization, what we have followed is cultivating the volunteers. And they do a tremendous job. And you will be surprised, many times I find them, these volunteers, come from various fields. And as Karthikeyan said, if you really like your job and it's not boring, it helps a lot. So I would think, other than the technology, who can be better than the human being themselves? So it is important for senior executives, CEOs, and the staff to get more and more people involved in the cause. It makes the burden on exchequer less, and you have a very motivated team. So I would encourage everyone, wherever you can get the volunteers, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't want to work 9 to 5 on this kind of a job where you don't see a tremendous career growth. Although we are talking, the salaries are at par with the market, no, which is not the true. It doesn't go largely, it's not true. And you don't enjoy doing the same thing all the time. So the summary is that encourage the volunteers and have less number of people who are really mean doing business of charity and helping the social service. That's my point, limited point. Thank you.
Thanks very much. So, yes, using volunteers, turn 9 staff to 90 staff or even 900 staff, right? Okay, I think we are at the last half hour. I think that's when, oh, there's one more question. Oh, sorry, yes, there's one more. Yeah, is that Peter?
Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry, I can't see. So I'm Peter from a social enterprise called Impact. So we worked with Melissa. We are one of the outsourced person does the accounting and the payroll service. We also work with organizations to look at the volunteer management and etc. I think maybe I'm not a social service agency, but I'm a kind of ecosystem supporter for many of the small and medium-sized organizations. Maybe I share 2 things in relation with the AI. So even for us as a service provider, we see, in the future of accounting and HR, most of them, maybe in 2 or 3 times, these tasks will be replaced by AI. So I'm not sure if you know that even AI can do bookkeeping and can do bank reconciliation, and maybe in 2 years' time, really very small fraction of the accounting and the payroll tasks needs to be done by human, right? So that's one trend. Another trend I thought I'd just share, I was in Hong Kong for the HKCSS Summit. I learned a lot from Hong Kong friends, even in the volunteer management. So I was very amazed that some of the Hong Kong small organizations outsource their volunteer management to another organization that, take care of the entire volunteer management for other smaller charities. So I thought it's really interesting. On one hand, we can go with AI to reduce the resource requirements from the smaller organization. On the other hand, I do see that, outsource goes beyond just the basic service. It can even work with the volunteer management as well. So I thought just share these perspectives as I learned.
Thanks, Peter. Since you mentioned about the Hong Kong the summit, right? I'll let Grace say something.
Thank you very much for your comments and feedback. I appreciate that. Because you have mentioned something, I have something that I really want to share. Just now, we always mention AI, can do lots of things, but actually AI at this stage is learning. How about human being? For example, just now you mentioned our future ready organization. I would say, let us foster a culture of continuous learning. If we do learning, same as AI also doing learning, I think we are on the same page.
Who's learning faster, AI or us? Depends. Okay.
Depends.
Okay, that's
depends on gender and also.
Depends on gender roles
and
as
also
well.
the age.
Trisha, you want to say something?
I think I really think the AI systems are only going to be as good as us extracting value out of them, right? So it's important now to learn quickly how to use the AI tools. The way I use AI every day is I think about it as the smartest person I know sitting right next to me. And I use it as a tool, not a crutch. And it helps me then in my job be more creative, be more strategic. And I think in so many jobs of our friends in the room today, it helps us again focus on the community care connection that drives us to do the social service work.
Now you have 2 other smarter people sitting next to you, Karthik and Tun Hui. So besides AI, you can tap on their wisdom as well. Okay, I think that's when we spice things up a little. I brought a tool with me today. I don't know whether you recognize this. What does this remind you of? Recess time? No, it's typically what moderators use for debates. So I was thinking that maybe, we get our panelists into Team A, Team B. I have a motion that I'm proposing. We split them up into, two teams, the affirmative and the opposing team, and see what their views are on this topic we call intergenerational challenges. I think we've all mentioned, right? We are actually spanning 4 different generations of workforce today. And I've heard more than once that the young struggle with the old struggle with the young. So while we want to be future ready, I think what does it mean really to bring the whole workforce together with us, be they young or old? So I thought the motion I want to propose today, and we can pull up that Mentimeter, and you have a vote. I want to see amongst the audience, if you could join the Mentimeter. Yeah. This is, if you're in, you see this almost like Squid Game. Whether you want to vote to play the game or get out of the game. We don't have 456 million won as a prize. But if you can see, maybe once you're in, I also like to see, yeah. Okay, maybe you can show the poll results. Yes. Okay, we are showing the poll results, and see, you can pin, is this working? I hope it's working. If it's not working, then we'll just have show. Yes, good. People are coming in to pin. If the future of work in the sector, is it shaped by experience or idealism, or not idealism? So are you for this motion or against this motion? Okay, while I see the votes coming in, I shall gently just, okay, I think they are in positions already. We have Karthik and Trisha, who is for the motion, and Tuni and Grace, who is against the motion. Okay, I think they are getting nervous. I'll give them help, because typically in a debate, there are 3 people, right? Now there are only 2 of them. Okay, Grace wants to kill me already. So I have invited, some of my friends to volunteer themselves to join this debate. So may I invite those that have volunteered? You should know who you are. If you're not coming, then you're no longer my friend, okay? Maybe Mohsin. Yes, Mohsin is coming up. He's a young fella, under 40. I don't know whether he's still below 40. Maybe a round of applause for Mohsin. And I see Alicia. Alicia, interestingly, I just bumped into him yesterday. Bumped into her yesterday at the Foundry when we were doing our learning journey. So interestingly, she introduced to me 2 interns, one from Hong Kong and one from UCLA. So she works a lot with young interns. I think she gets a few of them, 6 or 7 of them every year. So I'm interested to see how she handles the young interns. Okay, we have a chair. I will let you, do we need to shift? Okay, we don't need, maybe move one chair over there, if you can. Yeah. And I'll give this seat up to, yes, Alicia. Okay, as they get into position, I'll explain how this works, right? As with Oxford-style debates, the affirmative team will start first. I don't know who their first speaker is. I hope they have decided among themselves who their first speaker is.
We have
we'll
not.
Start with an opening address, 2 minutes. We don't have a lot of time. That's when the bell, where's my bell? The bell is with Tun Hui. Okay, I'll ring the bell if it exceeds 2 minutes. And then the opposing team will then do their opening remarks for about 2 minutes. And then we'll go back to the affirmative team to rebut what the opposing team has said, and then followed by the opposing team. Then we'll have a bit of a Q&A. That's open to the floor. If any of you have any questions, we'll see. And then they'll do a closing. So that's how it works. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, not very long. So it should take no more than 20 minutes, and then we'll wrap up this session. So before we go into the proper, I just want to close off the poll. So from the audience, almost 200 odd of you have voted. Most of it, it's for the motion. Some less is against the motion. So panelists and friends, are you ready? Okay.
This is worse than Squid Game, man.
Yeah.
See the circle and the cross Squid Game.
It's okay, but there's no prize.
But it's just that in Squid Game, the cross will be the final winner.
Oh yeah. Here there's no winners and losers. We are just getting sentiments. Okay. As soon as you're ready, the timer will start.
All right. So our team argues that purpose first and experience matters. It doesn't really matter which gender or age group you belong to. What matters is the experience and your deep belief in the work that we do. The reason is, again, like I said earlier, intrinsic motivation is very important. But organizations, leaders cannot also say that everything intrinsic motivation, so we can't do anything about it. So we have to create an environment, we have to create the infrastructure to motivate the staff. So the resources that we provide, all those things are very important. But end of the day, what motivates them is what is so important. And when I talk about experience, it's not just the individual experience. The organization has a collective experience. The board members have experience. So how do we bring all these things together and make it really the ethos of the organization? And how do we put that forward? And this is the organization that I work for, and this is the client group that I really work for. But what is really motivating me? So that experience really matters. Technology, AI, whatever, is just an enabler. I think Minmas mentioned during his speech, Prof mentioned during her speech. One theme that came across very, very clearly is technology is just an augment, it's just an enabler, it is just a support tool, but the purpose is what's most important, and that's what we are at.
Right on time. Well done, Karthik. Yes.
My goodness.
All right, the opposing team. Who's going to open?
Okay, I will do that.
Okay.
Thank you. We stand for rewriting the rules of work. Experience anchor us to broken the system. 78 hours work week, burnout, and also the AI-resistant industry. But idealism is something. It is our launch pad. Generation Z demands purpose-driven work, purpose-driven career. Frankly speaking, most of them would like to take a pay cut, but for the meaningful work. So for us, AI isn't automation. It is liberating humans from repeated tasks. And also, remote work isn't a benefit. It is a talent strategy pool. So when we say impossible, that doesn't mean we are not taking care of the society. But we need to find out how we can do a better job perspective. We are not just changing jobs. We are building the ecosystem where the work can serve the humanity. The last thing I want to say is the future actually belongs to those who imagine radically, not those polished, just only the good old days.
May I?
Not yet. Okay, not yet. Not yet the rebuttal, but wow, well done, Grace. You came up with that in the last 30 seconds. A lot of quotable quotes, so round of applause for Grace. Thank you. Okay, now back to Sorry Tunhui. We follow the Oxford-style debate. We let the affirmative team, team member number 2, you can now rebut anything that you heard from either your own team or the other team. Okay, as long as you're ready.
I think one point that Grace may have raised was about the future belongs to those who imagine and try to be more idealistic. I think the room here is already full of such individuals. I think what we need moving forward for the future is actually what exactly has worked and try to build upon that, right? I think all of us here have seen how the future can be, but what is that success factor is actually experience. And I think that is something that we can move towards. My next point is we know that in the social service sector how difficult it is to raise funds, and with limited resources, I think with experience we can understand and put things in sandboxes to try to innovate in a safe manner, such that the ideas are still well within the space and the ideas are well within the mandate of what the social service sector is wanting to achieve. I think we have seen a lot of progress, but yet there are a lot of work that needs to be done, and I think we have also had a conversation about requiring more subject matter experts, right, within outside the sector to come into the sector. hence the motion of the future of work is needing more people with experiences would stand.
Thank you very much. Right on time as well. Okay, now, Tun Hui. You want to say something? You have 2 minutes.
Yes, I mean, this is not a full rebuttal, but I personally have nothing against experience for all the reasons given. But if you are seriously thinking of transforming social services or transforming whatever you're doing, you do need that spark of imagination. And you do need to think out of the box and sometimes break the rules. So sometimes I do see the way innovation is being managed. Brilliant ideas from young people, but when they floated them up the organization, although there's a will, somehow things get filtered out, things get ratcheted down to a safe level, and that originality, that ambition has also, subsided, which I find is a pity. That's why I think we always have to temper experience with a sense of idealism so that you keep that aspiration going.
Thanks, Tun Hui. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, before I move on to the last member of the two teams, right? Now it's Q&A. We're about 2-3 minutes. Anybody has any questions for anybody, it's fine. Members from the audience, you can post your questions as well. And of course, the teams, you can post questions to each other. This is now the time you want to question each other.
I think we'd love to hear examples of how idealism trumps experience. Could you share through something concrete? That would be really helpful for us.
I just think of one example is from Google's. In Hong Kong, we have close working relationship with Google's, and guys mentioned to me that they have a Google 20% projects. What that means is the company is really encouraged the staff to use 20% of their working time to pay attention or do something special on their own interests, in their own personal projects. I think this is something that what we mentioned, think out of the box. We have the continuous learning. We are not just only think about the job, but also establish the social values and not the profits, but really the value for the society. I think this is something I can imagine and mention.
Yes.
I'm also happy to come on board with one of the examples from Ray of Hope. We're a small organization. We've got 8 full-time staff. We're a crowdfunding charity that serves emerging and unmet needs. So individuals, right, whose stories appear on our crowdfunding platform. But the client journey with us is quite different from what you see with, let's say, a commercial crowdfunding platform. Clients come on board, there's disbursement, and with the last disbursement, typically you'd imagine that's where the contact ends. So we invite our clients to come on board, to join the Ray of Hope community, and many return to be volunteers. So it's a transition and empowering one as well, where you see a service user or a client coming on board to be a volunteer and then amplifying that empowerment or that inclusive outreach to everyone else in the community, which is also very mixed with migrant volunteers from dorms, for example, and other community members, youth volunteers as well as corporate volunteers. So it is in that blending and mixing, which is quite a nice, fresh approach, we think, that we get a lot of support.
Okay, time is almost up. So do you have any questions for the affirmative team, opposing team? I'll give you a chance, since they asked you for examples.
Okay, please give example. Please give example. Do you think really the knowledge, the institutional knowledge can really solve the AI-driven mass unemployment? CEO will answer.
CEO will answer. They're all CEOs.
So, Grace, your example of 80-20, which is something that we do follow. 80-20, at the organization level, we have 20% innovations. And at the service level, we have 20% innovations. At department level, we encourage staff to have 20% innovations. individual level, we encourage 20% innovations. I don't call it idealism. The 20% innovations, I call it, that comes from the experience. So that comes from that 80%, right? So it's that 80-20 fine balance that we have is something that we do our work well right now, but at the same time, we don't become redundant. We keep looking at what's happening. It could be a new idea, it could be a new product, it could be a new way of doing things, and then we just keep looking at that. And so that's how we do it. So I feel that experience is what is shaping the future. And that's why it's important that we keep looking at the experience and we deepen that experience so that it keeps moving you forward. But if we keep only just looking at the future as something which is nice and fantastic, but then if we don't know how to get there, it's going to be a problem. So that's why that 80-20 for us is very important.
Thanks very much. We wrap up the Q&A segment. And now for the closing remarks, who is going to be the team member? We'll start with the opposing team first. Yes, opposing team.
Thanks for that, Bruce. I don't disagree that experience is important. Okay, when you hold it up against idealism, though, I must say I don't think then experience is a necessary factor in this sector going forward. We are now in a post-VUCA situation. It's what this new acronym has come aboard, right? BANI, B-A-N-I. It's brittle, I think it's anxiety-ridden, non-linear, what's the last one? Insecure. You know, I mean, if these are the words to describe what we're in now, yes, perhaps experience gives us the benefit of perspective. But what idealism, and perhaps here I'm preaching to the converted, a room of people who are committed to mission, who are committed to values, holding society and ourselves to a higher standard means that we're working towards that ideal. Reality might suggest one way. There are challenges, there are resource scarcities, yet it is our idealism that keeps us focused on that effective and perhaps hard to attain end result. It's our aspiration that continues to drive us and keeps us going in the sector. It is our resilience that this level of idealism strengthens. So it is perhaps on that note that I'll round up for our team. As a 50-year-old, I say, of course, experience is helpful. Is it necessary in this world going forward for us to find the solutions that are needed? If we want to broaden our solution set, I would say idealism comes out as the stronger factor. So please vote for that.
Thanks, Alicia. Now the affirmative team, who is going to do the closing remarks? Trisha, yes.
I should have said something earlier. Well, I appreciate the against team's summary and very helpful examples, but I think a lot of what they've said also supports our motion that experience matters. The example they gave on Google's 80-20, Karthik's interventions there shared that's really built an experience. And a lot of what we shared is experience is really a proxy of skills, and skills is about what you know, what you can do, what you cannot do, and that is what's valued to keep our employees motivated to drive our organizations forward. When it comes to fundraising, for example, we also give that example of how experience really helps to drive those be successful in their future work. Now, we're not saying that idealism is not important, just like you're saying experience is not important. But a healthy dose of idealism is always helpful. But we need to be grounded in the reality of the workers and the workforce and what's needed. So I'm so glad you guys have all voted for us already.
We shall see, Trisha. Can you pull up the poll again?
Not yet.
I want to see if the minds have changed, mindsets have shifted. Okay. Yeah, if you can just pull up the Menti again, we will ask the members of the audience to vote. While they vote, thank you very much, Mohsin and Alicia. They are the two of the bravest people I know. I hope we are still friends. So please give them a round of applause, and I'll invite you off the stage. Thanks. Okay. Wow. It seems like it has... Yeah, vote swing, yes. Well, it's a swing state. Yeah, it does seem like against has more votes than for right now. So idealism more important than, okay, experience seems like the case. Okay, but anyway, that's just for fun. Of course, everybody has their own opinions. So we're closing up. So before we wrap up, I'll just ask each panel members some very specific questions to their own experience as a closing remark for this whole panel. Of course, don't spend more than 2 minutes, if not I'll ring the bell. I'll start with Kartik first, right? Kartik, 18 years in AWA, 6 years as CEO. What is one seed you have planted, right, in AWA that you know will grow into something that makes it future ready?
I think I'm just carrying on the baton that has been passed to me from the founders and the previous CEOs, which is carrying on the ethos of the organization to do good, do well, and do differently is what is AWA's sort of unsaid motto. So we do things well and we do it slightly differently, and that differently should not be for the sake of doing differently. It should be for the sake of clients, and that's where the innovation comes. And that's the part that I still carry on. And two things that we have done recently, which I feel will probably become a bigger movement, is one is the teaching organization culture. We are encouraging our staff to not just learn, but teach. So we have started an academy within. It's a digital academy, and we get our people to teach internally. And we haven't invested a lot in this academy. We don't have external speakers and trainers. It is all internal, and all our practitioners are teaching. And I hope to see this growing because it is for the internal organization. The other seed is really the innovation culture. And innovation is not just for the sake of innovation within the care. And we ask our staff, if you have problems and frustrations, don't just get frustrated. Those frustrations can be a problem statement, and those problem statements can be a problem-solving tool. So every time you get angry with a process or a person, make it a problem statement, and it's an opportunity. And I hope to see this growing.
Okay, so two seeds there, teaching and innovation, all right. Okay, my question next to Tun Hui. I mean, from outside in approach and sort of in as well, you're chair or president of SPD, right? In your non-social service experience, what is one policy or approach that you will bring into the sector or SPD that you don't already see exist today?
Okay. I personally think the social sector has made tremendous progress over the last 10 years. And we have actually adopted quite a lot of progressive talent development, talent management practices. And the good thing is we don't adopt them blindly. We sort of adapt it to suit the sector, which is good. One aspect that I personally think we can do better, maybe better alignment of objectives, because the sector is diverse, many players, sometimes can be pulling in different directions. So I think good if there's greater alignment so that we can move more easily. And I take from my experience in the public sector, the public sector is also very diverse. There are over 80 agencies, it's 140,000 strong. Somehow it is able to maybe move more in tandem, and it shows a lot during COVID-19, where there's a whole of government sort of approach. And I hope to see that playing out in the social sector. It may be done in a slightly different way, greater alignment in terms of sharing information, trends, maybe a common picture of success, and maybe a common musical score that everybody can contribute in. So that would be my aspiration. As a board chair, this is a call out to my fellow board chairmen who may be present, that you have a role to play in building your organization's future-ready capabilities, and what the board focus on, the CEO and the staff would take reference from. So you would know that it's important to focus on talent development, building future-ready capabilities. And I hope that in your board deliberations that you pay some attention to that. It can be starting with quite basic things like making sure that you pay according to salary guidelines. You know, that's to me a very low-hanging fruit. And then investing resources in skills upgrading, giving meaningful careers and roles to the organization staff as well. Applies whether you are a small, medium, or big organization. Yeah, so that would be my 2 cents.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Alignment and board leadership, right, in that sense. Okay, Grace, some of you may not know, how many months are you on the job right now?
2 months.
2 months. She's only 2 months on her job as CE of Hong Kong Council of Social Service.
Yes.
Yes, so not that, I want to caveat, not that we're expecting it anytime soon, but if and when NCSS gets a new CE, I don't know, only the bosses here, Minister, maybe you know something I don't, PS, maybe you know something I don't, but if and when, I have a new boss, what would you tell the person? What is one advice you would give to the person now that you're only 2 months old?
Okay. Well, first of all, I think I really thank NCSS bringing us here. Actually, this message is not just only for NCSS CEO. It's for every one of you. If you are CEO or CEO to be, I think we have the same feeling. I would like to use NCSS, this 4th alphabet, to make up a sentence for you, okay? Nurture our dreams. Care for every heart. Support one another. Shine as a light.
Wow.
Okay. The last word. Remember today we are in here joining NCSS, the conference. We have a very enjoyable moment. The last sentence is, together we build.
Wow. Thanks, Grace. Nurture, care, support, and shine, is it? Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Nurture, care, support, and shine.
All right. We'll remember that. We'll put it in our values, I think. We just revised our values, and it's a bit too early for us to revise our values again, but we'll take note. Okay, last but not least, of course, Trisha, right? In famous words of, LinkedIn, right? If I were to see a LinkedIn notification from you tomorrow that says I'm happy to share that I'm starting a new position as an ED of an SSA, what would I expect to see in your post?
Thanks, Bruce. I realize I have the last word as well, but I feel like we should have ended when Grace spoke. I think if any one of us take up leadership positions and post on LinkedIn, I think it's a really important opportunity to showcase not just your leadership style, but then also the causes and communities and values you want to showcase. All of us here are leaders of social change, and I think we can think about a LinkedIn platform as a platform for advocacy. You have an opportunity not just to say, I'm so thrilled to take on this job, which many of us do, but also an opportunity then to showcase your leadership style, the causes you want to champion, and I think it's a really great opportunity as well to showcase the organization you are to attract good talent, because that's also something that we've talked about a lot today.
Thank you, Trisha. And with that, please give a round of applause to the panelists today. Thank you very much. I'll hand it back to MC.
A very big thank you to Ms. Ong, Ms. Chan, Ms. Suresh, Mr. Kartik, and also to Mr. Liu for playing both parts. We got debate moderator as well as panel moderator. That was fun, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure we've all gained new insights as well as ideas from the respective sharing. And these insights have just kind of reinforced a very important message, that meaningful transformation in our social service sector flourishes when both individuals as well as organizations grow together.